Right now, here's Jeff Cameron.
The Seminole Headlines begins right now. 93.3 Real Talk Radio and Warchant TV. Thanks so much if you're listening and or watching. If you're watching, make sure, as always, you like and subscribe so that others may find the show. There's Ira, there's Corey in the other room. Still loving this setup, guys. I just think it makes us all together a little bit better.
A lot better. I mean, it's like a different scale. It's not even, you can't even compare the two.
It's true.
Completely different.
And if you're watching, you see the logo there for the great Register Sausage. And as always, yay, sausage!
You know, I was in Publix. I don't go into Publix often in Tallahassee, but I was getting Brady and I some items, some necessities, and I only saw the smoked sausage, and it was a ton of it. But I only saw the smoked sausage. I didn't see my jalapeno cheddar. Didn't see my andouille.
Sold out.
Probably sold out is what I'm thinking.
Without question.
Because smoked sausage is great. I get it. But man, you gotta diversify when you're talking about registers. It's not just a one-trick pony.
But you also know what headliners and elite headliners do when they don't have all the register sausage you want. You got to protest, man. You got to stand up. If you don't stand up for registers, you'll fall for anything.
I threw a fit. I threw a fit for about 10 minutes, but nothing. They still didn't produce any andouille for me.
So you thought they were hiding it in the back?
I thought it must be for the managers or like VIPs.
Like, don't put it all out there,
yeah.
guys.
Save it for the VIPs or something. Yeah, right. So that was a little disappointing.
Nonetheless, we love Register Sausage, and Ira, you like to tell people how they can get it all over the United States, outside of perhaps Alaska.
Other than Alaska. Well, although I think we haven't gotten an update lately from Ben, the sausage guy, but I think they may be able to ship it to Alaska. But we're not sure. We're
the
still
serial killers.
Feeling that out. But registermeats.com is the website. If you live across the Southeast, Florida, Georgia, Alabama, up into the Carolinas now, you can get your Register sausage in your local grocery store. If they don't have it, protest peacefully. And if you don't have it, if you don't live in this area, order your sausage at registermeats.com.
It's a big day. It's Corey's birthday. It's Flag Day.
Yeah.
And a couple of things happen. First of all, Flag Day represents Corey's birthday, and it's the day that I answer emails.
Oh, you do it every Flag Day?
Once a year, I answer emails.
Oh, nice, man. Is that a coincidence that it happens to be my birthday? Have you been, or did you choose that because you knew it was my birthday?
I knew the significance of Flag Day, and I thought, I got to do something of significance on Flag Day. It's also Corey's birthday. Why not answer the emails that have come in since the previous Flag Day?
So smart.
And I go back and I get to them. When I started this tradition, I hadn't answered emails in roughly 5 to 7 years. And this is a true story. Tom cracked up laughing. I'll never forget it. I sent emails back to people, some of which were bitching at me for something 4.5 years ago. And I answered it. And this gun guy was like, so good of you to get back to me. It was good. Yeah. So
one is like, I think Smag is the answer.
Yeah.
I think Smag can replace Jameis.
It was great.
And
anyhow, big day.
You just had a birthday as well.
I did. Birthday's all about here on Seminoles. So welcome to the 50s Club, Corey.
Not quite
Congratulations
there.
to
Getting there.
you.
Getting
there.
I'm basically 50. I'm on the wrong side of 40, so I'm getting closer and closer.
46 or 47?
47. And I brought. But what's cool about that is for most of this year,
nothing's cool about it.
I thought I was 47. For about 8 months of this year.
It's like finding $20 in your pocket.
I know. I'm like, oh, crap. I'm only just now turning 47. So I saved myself 8 or 9 months because I thought I was 47 for most of this year. And I got to find out today through a surgical visit with a visit with the surgeon that I get to have my gallbladder taken out.
Well, you're very excited.
On July 18th. So everybody plan accordingly. July 18th, Corey's getting his gallbladder taken out. And they're not doing a transplant. I asked if I could get somebody else's gallbladder. But apparently they don't do that.
A dead marathon runner.
I would think that'd be a great one.
Like that,
no stones in that thing, probably.
Strong dude.
You'd give him your gallbladder if you
in a heartbeat. You would. You don't need it.
Is that right? I don't need it at all.
Apparently, well, the guy's pretty willy-nilly about taking it out of me, saying it's no big deal.
But yours is problematic. Has been for years.
Yes, it has been. Yeah,
and you've got a perfectly good one.
I think it's never bothered me.
I mean, I'll be honest with you. I'd rather have a younger one.
Yeah,
I don't want somebody in their 50s gallbladder. I want a 28-year-old.
I just turned 51. I'll let you in on a little secret. I thought I was turning 52.
See?
This
is beautiful. Guys, when you get older, you forget your age.
Couldn't believe it.
What if they gave somebody else your gallbladder like on a discount?
Oh, those poor bastards.
It's only every couple months you have debilitating pain. You'll be fine. And he's not that tough. You can probably handle it.
Eric Angel writes, happy birthday, Corey. Cold one's on me, and he's contributed to that end. So
thank you, Eric. I appreciate it, buddy.
Thanks,
that. Eric.
Yeah. No, so good. So listen, for years, you refused to eat properly or drink properly. And take care of yourself in any capacity. and we worried about you. And then Ira specifically said, man, I think something's wrong with your gallbladder.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, you changed your diet, you did a lot of things, you've lost a lot of weight, you're working out, you look great. But it turned out Ira was like the doctor amongst us who 2 years ago we were all at my previous place of employment, and you were like, man, something's wrong with your gallbladder.
I basically am a doctor.
You basically, but you nailed this one.
Well, because Kim had it. Kim had the same thing. And so she had her surgery, and I was just telling before the show. It I'm not gonna say it changed her life, but it was a lot better. So I'm looking forward to him being able to eat the fried foods he's always.
I'm looking forward to getting back to Fritos.
You know what you're looking
getting
forward
back to my Fritos.
You're gonna get back to exactly what you were doing before, buddy.
I don't think so. God, I hope
come on,
not.
how much have you missed that Mick Ultra life?
Not much, honestly, but I have missed Fritos. Not Fritos, but stuff like that. You know, I can't snack like I used to.
Oh man, that's good. And so it is that it's a fun, eventful week to do Seminole Headlines. We thoroughly vetted, I think, the Mike Martin Jr. situation.
We probably still need to do it, but I want to say something to Matthew real quick. You don't have to post a comment that says I'm the Abe Vigoda of Seminole Headlines because I look much older than I am.
He doesn't?
You don't have to do that. I could live my whole life without seeing a comment like that. And I love Life Spectator. But, you know, that wasn't the best thing.
That's not nearly as bad as when they compared you to, who was it? They put the side-by-side photo. Somebody did this for Wake Up Warchant. They were making fun of you. Who was the guy?
I don't remember. There's the guy from like Pawn Stars or something.
Oh,
that's
what it was.
Like. Yeah.
That's who it was. You were devastated.
Who you had never seen.
I didn't know. No, it's the guy in the trail that's like, man, have you ever been told you look like the guy from Pawn Stars?
And you don't look
And I'm like,
him.
I don't know what you're talking about. He goes, oh, you look exactly like him. I thought you were him.
I mean, you're a white bald guy with a goatee.
And I looked at him, and the guy's, you know, three bills probably.
He's lived less than a salubrious life, and I remember seeing that photo going, that would hurt.
Yeah,
I could tell you were bothered by it. It's okay. You could admit it. I mean, that would bother me too.
Yeah,
that was a touch.
There's a lot of good-looking bald guys too. I mean, I know apparently I'm not
one
of them.
You're looking at one right now. You're right here. You see me 3 times a week.
That's right. You're right.
Yeah, you're good to go.
Yeah, I was thinking about that this morning. I was like, you've talked about, you know, Mike Martin Jr. getting fired on your show. Plenty. Corey's talked about it on his shows. I've talked about it.
We did,
but we haven't done it all together, so I guess we need to talk about it a little bit, or just the state of FSU baseball.
Well, I actually think this allows us to kind of segue to it nicely. Seminole Moments wrote, if you guys are off work during a major FSU event, are you happy you don't have to do anything, or are you annoyed you can't immediately express your take? And that's actually a great question, because I was driving, you were driving.
Yeah.
I was on my way to his hometown. He was on his way to my hometown, ironically.
To watch two great teams compete.
That's correct.
And I was just working.
Raining.
You're just doing what you do.
The two of us were going to opposite cities to see reigning world champions.
Right. Good point.
Yeah. And so I was driving. I was nearly in Atlanta when it was the morning. I get up and get out the door, folks.
Right.
I don't fool around. When I'm going somewhere, we are out the door. I'm an ass about it too, by the way. My wife was relieved not to be going with me to Atlanta this past weekend, but the kids were going. So I said, 6 a.m. We're out the door. We're not BSing around here. We're getting out the door. I'm not dealing with it, because you always got to deal with McDonough. You could be locked into McDonough for 2 hours. Who knows? They should burn it to the ground. Anyhow, so
somebody did.
Years ago, should have left it that way. And as I was driving, I get this text early in the morning from somebody that would know, and I go, oh, this is going down? This is going down now, and I'm out of town, and I know Gene's going to want us to do something, as he rightfully should, since we're employed by Warchant.com.
It is a Friday afternoon, yeah.
Yeah, and so nonetheless, I called you, and you were like, we're on it. We got it. Your sources were working hard just like ours. And as it turned out, I was a little disappointed not to be able to weigh in, not because I wanted to revel in the misfortune of Mike Martin Jr., but it's a big story because of what it represented. And I think that's what we've talked about, is that for the first time in a long time, Florida State does have an athletic director, and perhaps the impetus to do something about things that are stagnant or not working, and that they've got a guy in place who's seemingly been tasked with the responsibility of doing just that and is willing to do so. I think there's a lot of factors, a confluence of a lot of events, but it's a big deal to fire him when they did. That name is synonymous with Florida State baseball. I feel bad for him. I've said that publicly, but I don't disagree with the decision. And I've also said that. And I think the three of us kind of feel that way. I don't want to speak for you too, but I think we all kind of realize that given the level of baseball played here the last 2 years and the way it was trending, it didn't look good.
Ira, go for it.
I think me looking forward, you know, one of the things that I think is a positive of this, again, is that rightly or wrongly, there was a feeling in this program, around this program, among the fan base for a long time, that it's where it was, it's where it's been, and it wasn't moving anywhere. You know, that Mike Martin Jr. was going to be a continuation of Mike Martin Sr., which the last several years was just not trending in a good direction. And somebody tweeted at me yesterday and said, well, why weren't you guys saying that at the end of Mike Martin Sr.'s tenure? Well, first of all, they were still winning 40 games every year. They were still going to super regionals. They were still going to Omaha. I think they went to Omaha 2 of the last 4 or 5 years he was there.
2 of the last 3.
2 of the last
17 and 19. Yeah.
So, you know, it wasn't like you were going to come out after Mike Martin, given those circumstances. But at the same time, I also agreed with people, and we all did, what was happening in the rivalry between Florida State and Florida over that decade was ridiculous. Florida got better and better and better, was playing for national titles, and Florida State, when they would play, I mean, how many straight did they lose?
11, I think it was. Was it 11?
I mean, and they weren't really competitive.
11, 20, who knows?
After a while, I stopped counting.
It felt like Florida could throw out their 7th pitcher, and it didn't matter, and Florida State wasn't going to score. So, I mean, that was the frustration. So then when Mike Martin Jr. took over, and it wasn't going anywhere, I think he had to get, I mentioned it yesterday in the column I wrote, I think he had to get out of the gates really strong to just kind of get out of that feeling. And I think there's been that feeling around the program. So from that standpoint, I think it's good for the program to just be moving in a new direction, whatever that direction is.
Sometimes a new set of eyes, whether you had anything against the previous coach or not, is a good thing. New blood can be a good thing.
Do you think it would have mattered if they would have lost 2 in Athens and been done for Mike? Because that team, all of a sudden it gave this impression that Florida State was a College World Series team, which it was in 19, his last year, but they weren't very good all season. If they had just finished out that season like they finished out these last 2 seasons, you think that buys Meade an extra year because he's taken over a middling program?
Or does he not get the job? Because,
well,
that's a good point too. Maybe if they lose out, they go a different route because it was 2 bad years in a row.
I think he would have got the job either way. But I will say this: we weren't silent. I got into an argument with Mike Martin Jr. on the air.
Was it that year? Or
2019.
Was it 19? Because they were
injury
bad,
riddled,
yeah.
and they were 16 and 15 at one point, and that's when we had the argument. He was making the case that they've had injuries. I was making the case that they played poor baseball with anybody they put on the field. They didn't pitch, they didn't pick it up, and they didn't run the bases.
Yeah,
and that 500 is no way to live if you're Florida State. And I mean, I think he made some valid points, but that we were expressing concerns that the program was not up to the standard, and you're not a victim of your own success. I've repeated that time and again. I repeated that with Bowden. When Bowden started losing games, I was like, that's the guy that told you he would leave if he ever lost 4 games and then didn't.
Yeah.
We talked about, like, just because you created this, juggernaut doesn't mean then that you're allowed to sit around and watch it flounder. And so I don't know. I think there have been growing concerns. I'm not one of these guys that thought that Mike Martin Jr. didn't know what he was doing. I think he knows baseball, but I think relationship-wise, I think he struggled with people.
Yeah, and you think about, I think he did too. And and you never know how somebody. I mean, we knew he was, as you called him, a red ass. We knew that when he was the assistant coach. You never know, but so was Mike Martin Sr. for a good long time. And then he became the lovable granddad guy. Now, obviously, Meat's not old enough to be a lovable granddad guy, but you didn't know how he would take to that job, and maybe he does lighten up. But clearly, that didn't seem to happen.
Did you see the interview in at Auburn?
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah.
I don't think that played well.
No, and so, but I think when as a Braves fan, Bobby Cox wasn't the best.
He won the damn division every year,
but he wasn't a great. Strategian? What is that a word? Strategist. Good grief!
Turned 47 and falling to
It's
pieces.
the gallbladder.
When they take that out, you're going to be.
I'm going to be smooth.
Wordsmith.
What'd you say? Strategist. Bobby Cox, Brian Snitker. They're not unbelievable strategists.
They don't have to be when you're rolling out that group.
But they're great communicators, and they're really good at relationships. And baseball is so much of that because it's such a mind screw.
Big part of it.
That whole sport is just based on
failure,
screwing with your mind.
Failure.
So it can be when you're already feeling bad, and then maybe somebody doesn't uplift you the way you want, or tell you go get them next time you got it, or whatever the case may be. It can really screw with you. That a lot of that job is managing personalities, and doesn't seem like Meat did that very well.
So I think it's a good point to make that if it is a lot about communication, because the truth is in baseball there are not a ton of decisions to make. Unless you're really bucking the trend or you've embraced to the extreme modern analytics, you're not doing too many things that would separate you from the common guy who understands the game and watches it from his couch.
That's
like
pitching,
I know which
pitching
reliever
changes, right?
Yeah.
That's about it.
I'm going to get the lefty to face the lefty.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a tough one. You know, I mean, there aren't that many decisions to make. So it is about relationships because you're together for so long. The seasons are long. The day in, day out interactions matter greatly. You didn't get a sense anybody was running through a wall for that guy.
There's also, but the situational stuff does compound it when you have situations like Terrell getting cut off the base on a bunt attempt. Was it 3-0?
Ball 4, and he gets
and so those kinds of things that was mentioned to me by somebody of a pretty prominent stature in the university, that like those kinds of things.
Oh, they did.
It was like a.
Was it the school president? Was it the president?
Anyway, no.
The fundamentals were lacking.
Yes, and I think so. Anyway, you add it all up, and the fact that he had never been a head coach. I just think that you need to go back to the mindset of it, and I also mentioned this in my column. You go back to the mindset of when they sold him as the head coach.
Well, they got him on the cheap.
They got him cheap, but they also it was kind of a reward to some degree to what he had done for the school and for what his dad had done for the school. And it's college baseball. I mean, that was kind of behind the scenes. The feeling was it's college baseball. If it doesn't work out, we'll make a change in a couple of years. Like it was never.
Here it is.
Yeah,
and
it was never going to be like, hey, we're guaranteeing him 5 or 6 years to fix it.
Correct.
And they've been bad. I mean, they just have not been anywhere near what they were supposed to be.
And he had some powerful backers that helped do that. And I think that he had, obviously, some of this was based on merit. You know, he had contributed a ton to the university. He was, in his dad's latter years, he was the only reason they got the kids they got in recruiting. There were many years where he was in charge of the offense and they led the country in on-base percentage and runs. They were there. So there had been tangible successes, and he was also a great player. So, yeah, you're right. Here's a just reward. I only got to pay you $450,000 or whatever it was. Let's see how you do. And if it doesn't work out, we'll move along. And here we are.
So don't you feel like there's an energy? I mean, anytime there's a change, there's some energy. It just feels like there's some energy and excitement from the fan base that, okay, finally this thing can move forward. Let's see where it goes. Now, there's no guarantee the next guy's going to get out the gates great. And there's no guarantee the next guy's going to be successful. But at least it's kind of if it didn't feel like the transition from Mike Martin Sr. to Mike Martin Jr. was any kind of new beginning for most of the fan base. And this would be.
I will tell you this, if he's able to get Link Jarrett, which we all agree is who he's going after, I mean, he'd be a fool not to, he's actually in a perfect situation because nobody could blame him if it fails. Like if you're the AD and you hire Link Jarrett and then he sucks for some reason, nobody's mad at you. He's almost universally the chosen, you're protected in that sense. Like I went and got the guy you've all wanted, that you wanted the last time we did this.
And just made it to the College World Series at Notre Dame.
Yeah, nobody would be mad at that point. You're the foolproof hire. Seminole Headlines, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV continues in a moment.
Whitten Glass has been taking care of families since 1945.
Experienced, reliable professionals who offer only the best, like Whitten's top-of-the-line bath enclosures. Eye-catching storefronts are a specialty at Whitten Glass, and they provide precise installation.
Whitten Glass, Tallahassee's first family in glass. Online at whittenglass.com. Call 850-222-5781.
This is Kyle, Service Manager from Barano Heating and Air. Schedule an appointment from your mobile device to learn about our Total Comfort Service Program. With guaranteed same-day service, 15% off necessary repairs, and $25 berry books to use towards air filters and other products. Turn to the experts at Carrier and Barano Heating and Air. Any day, anytime, anywhere. Online at baranoac.com.
Florida license CAC 1816-186.
Physical stress on our bodies can take its toll as the years go by. Whether you're looking to get back into an old sport or just want to spend more time outdoors to explore all life has to offer in our beautiful city, the dedicated team at TOC is here for you every step of the way. You can trust TOC for all your orthopedic needs. And now, scheduling an appointment has never been easier. Just visit teamtoc.com and click schedule online. That's teamtoc.com.
There's fun to be had every night at the Corner Pocket. Take home prizes on Trivia Tuesdays and Beer Bingo Thursdays. And kickstart your weekend with Martini Fridays. Plus, happy hour runs every weekday and game day specials every time the Noles take the field. Watch all the best games at the Corner Pocket's Vegas wall, featuring 560 inches of flat screen TV heaven.
Oh, really?
The best food, the best drinks, and the best place to watch all the games. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Hey, no fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future.
If you buy too much, you waste money. If you come up short, you waste time. And if you don't have the right metal, you waste time and money. You got to spend wisely. MetalSupermarkets.com is your online source for metal with the deepest metal inventory. Just enter your dimensions and we'll cut the metal to your exact spec and deliver it to your home, business, or job site. MetalSupermarkets.com. Any metal cut to size and ready fast is just a few clicks away. MetalSupermarkets.com.
DQ presents a burger and blizzard meal matchup. Today's matchup is Bryce Harper's new DQ meal with flamethrower signature stacked burger, fries, and a cookie dough blizzard versus Tim Anderson's new DQ meal with a bacon 2-cheese deluxe signature stacked burger, fries, and an Oreo blizzard. Who picks the winner? That's you. Visit DQ.com to cast your vote for which meal should be the official meal of MLB. But first, try them both today. DQ. Happy tastes good.
Life is stressful. Dinner shouldn't be. That motto is why Register Sausage has been doing business in the Florida Panhandle and Lower Alabama for over 75 years. A proud sponsor of Seminole Headlines, Register Sausage always provides the best Southern smoked sausage to over 140 grocery stores and restaurants throughout the Southeast. Headliners have discovered the Register's difference. You can too. To find a store that carries Registers near you or to buy directly, head to registermeats.com. That's registermeats.com. Register Sausage. Yay, sausage!
Seminole Headlines returns now. Head to YouTube and search for Warchant TV today to catch the show live or on demand. Now, here's Jeff Cameron, Ira Schofel, and Corey Clark.
Rolling on, Seminole Headlines, as the voice guy says. Make sure, again, to like and subscribe if you're watching on Warchant TV. Well, so now moving forward, it will be interesting. We'll all be watching Notre Dame in the College World Series and to see how they progress. I think that Link is not only the guy that everybody wants to see brought in for obvious reasons, and that he was born here, his parents live here, he played here, and during a glorious time to play here, in fact, but also because they beat Tennessee.
Man, that was the greatest.
What a wonderful thing. What a gift to the world.
Yeah, the sports-loving world. That was a great
Everybody has to be pleased with the fact that Tennessee team, the least likable team ever assembled, is knocked out at home in front of those fans. It was glorious.
They were like the mid 2010
Pistons?
Clippers.
Oh, I thought you were going to go all the way back to the
Pistons is good too.
Like Chris Paul and I think Beverly might have been on that team, and then Blake Griffin flexing on people. It was a pretty unlikable group, complaining about every call. The Volunteers, man, that was unbelievable what they were like.
The guy getting thrown out after F-bombing the umpire,
and then asking why.
Then the pitching coach comes out and does the same thing, and he can't believe he's getting thrown out. It's like, what is wrong with you people?
It wasn't the first guy to get thrown out for the weekend. I mean, like, what are we doing? Who gets thrown out of games in the Super Regional?
Who? And it was a bad call, but who takes a called strike, turns to the umpire and says, "You're effing terrible," but not effing
in the first two innings of a game.
Yeah, and then is stunned, like, "What? What I said?
What did I do?
What? I don't believe this."
It's the kid that breaks the lamp when you walk in. What?
I wasn't
you try to turn it on.
I'm afraid that kid's a psychopath.
Well, but also I would note that whatever athletic training program they're on at Tennessee, Florida State needs to adopt.
They are on
the footbel team needs to adopt what the baseball team in Tennessee is doing. The Bama table exists in Tennessee, guys.
Maybe it explains some of the
the derangement.
Yeah, maybe, I don't know. I feel like they've made enough advances in steroids that maybe you don't get roid rage anymore. They've gotten rid of some
all I would tell you is that man for man, as I watched them come to the plate, everything about it was uncomfortable. The stupid paint on their faces, their pants are too tight, the demonstrative actions after every pitch.
I love like the support staff guys that look just like Vitello.
Oh yeah,
they're all like mini Vitellos.
Yeah. He's also unlikable. By the
Oh,
way.
my gosh.
It's unreal.
A team. It's almost like you created it in a lab to be a villain in a
Yeah.
in a 80s
A silly
sports
movie. Yeah. You'd be like, that is so well done. Yeah.
Yeah, they're all like Johnny Lawrence.
At one point, they bordered on so hated that I liked them. Like they really crossed. They
leaned into it so much. It became fun to root for him.
Like my favorite wrestler of all time is Roddy Piper.
Yeah,
and Piper's Pit was so insane that I was like, I love this guy. He's the best of all time. At times, Tennessee was so unlikable that I was like, I'm starting to like Tennessee guys. I'm starting to like
Roddy Piper.
They refused to give in.
And then it was just the tip. I mean, it was perfect sports. I mean, you've got that team playing the way and acting the way they are against this Notre Dame team of a bunch of 23-year-olds just playing baseball.
Yeah.
You know, nothing fancy, nothing crazy, nothing showboat. And they end up winning.
Well, when
series.
they hit the home run, it's a showboat. And
well, for sure.
What's happened to college baseball? Well, let's get on that for a second before we go to Link.
People don't get thrown at, Corey, is the answer.
Well, but like it is insane. Like every home run is like a Harlem Shake video.
What was
like they go crazy.
So hold on. The Notre Dame celebration, the bomb, the whole thing. We need to do that after every home run here.
Who is
even if you're down 11? What about if you're down 11-2 in the 8th?
It's 11-0. You hit a solo shot with 2 outs in the 8th.
You're still doing the bomb.
I want them all on the front step. We're doing the bomb, baby.
Man,
We're all going.
I feel like it needs to fit the status of the game.
Well, in that case, it did sit.
Oh, yeah.
To those fans, get you some of that. It was beautiful.
Who was it that came here a few years ago with the basketball hoop and then FSU imitated it?
I think that might have been Louisville or NC State, somebody like that.
That seemed a bit awkward, yeah.
Yeah. So, but they have all these celebrations now. It's like a dunk contest where you're trying to keep guys from falling onto the court because they're so excited. It's just I don't know when that happened, but
I don't know either. But I think it has a lot to do with nobody gets thrown at.
Yeah,
because
probably.
the suspensions in college baseball are severe. I had that explained to me many moons ago. Like if you come to college baseball from pro baseball, you'll see kids do things in a college game. You're like, ooh, that kid's going to get hit.
Yeah.
And I remember saying that when in like 92, I saw a kid do something at second base. I was like, they're going to hit him in the face the next time he comes up. And the person was like, oh, no, you don't hit anybody in college baseball. That's like a 3-week suspension.
So I have
the season. I was like, what?
I have a hypothetical. Let's just say it's a hypothetical. It may or may not have happened in Charleston when Brady's last tournament. Brady, like an idiot, tries to steal home in a 3-2 game against a very good team. He's on third. He got a good hit, stole second, got the third and wild pitch.
Are they up 3-2 or down 3-2?
They're down 3-2.
And he's trying to tie the game. He's trying to be a hero.
With 2 outs and our best hitter up.
Oh.
Who's also our best pitcher.
Oh.
And they were playing on high school fields.
Yeah, it's the first time. It's the first time he's played on 90 foot. He's not slow, but he is not fast enough.
It ain't like stealing in the little.
No. So as he said afterwards, he's like, when I got halfway, I'm like, oh yeah, these are 90-foot bases. So he's out by 10 feet.
Oh yeah, I'm tired.
Where's that home plate?
I'm not gonna get there.
The catcher, who's a very good catcher. This was a team from Florida they were playing. I think UCF's coach. His kid is on this team.
Okay,
anyway, the kid needs.
He's telling the story to people in Orlando.
He's like, this kid at third.
Kid trying to steal home like an idiot.
Yeah.
So anyway, the kid puts his knee down, actually hits Brady in the face with his knee, tags him out, and then gets up, says, "Suck it, B." But he uses the real word.
Bobby?
Yeah, it does not Brady.
Yeah.
And then spikes the ball. Does kind of a hip thrust, stands over him, spikes the ball, and says, "Suck it, B." So anyway, it's crazy.
By the way,
as a 13-year-old.
Hey, I got to tell you, just for fun, if he had just said "suck it, B," actually "suck it, B,"
"Suck it, B" is great,
fantastic.
Because you don't know if he's saying if he knows Brady's name.
Yeah.
But he said the word.
Yeah,
spikes the ball. He might have said "sit down." I don't know, but the last word was definitely that word. That our hitter is also our pitcher, and he's our best. He's our best.
Oh, you got to hit that kid.
So he tells his dad, because we all wanted the kid to be, something should have happened to the kid for that. We didn't know what he said.
Although
but just
Brady kind of got what he deserved.
Well, he got out, which is definitely what he deserved. So Andrew tells an unnamed player on Brady's team tells his dad, "Did you hear what they just said to Brady?" And he's like, "What did he say?" And he said, and he told him.
It.
And he goes, "Andrew, drill the first kid."
We're dealing with 12-year-olds and 13-year-olds.
So, and Andrew
your coach is a psycho.
No, it's not a coach. It's a dad.
Oh.
But, and again, y'all don't know the name. And this is all hypothetical. This didn't happen. But the umpire hears it and kicks the dad out of the game. And at that tournament, if the dad is ejected, then the head coach gets ejected too. Because that's the tournament.
But Travis Shamockery is going on in Atlanta.
So the umpire heard the dad saying, "Drill the next kid."
Yeah, but so
he kicked the dad from the premises.
Dad out of the game, which is fine. But
as he should.
But why not do anything to the catcher? And there are some written, I know it's 13. So I was like, yeah, you probably don't need to throw at a kid. But you act like that on a baseball field, there usually are some repercussions.
Sure, you might get spiked. You might, yeah.
And so I did tell Brady, I'm like, man, go thank that dad for having your back. Like he wasn't mad at the calls that were being made in the game. He was mad that he didn't do anything to that kid that treated you like that. And I assume he's a Tennessee Volunteer fan, that catcher.
I also think you have to be a little bit more discreet. Like I think
shouldn't have yelled it so loud.
If you're the dad, you just calmly pull your kid aside, be like, drill this kid in the back. I mean, it's understood.
It's simple.
It's understood.
Baseball. We're playing baseball
That's
here,
what we're doing here.
And if you're raising them right, you just give them a look.
That's exactly right.
If you're raising them right, you don't have to do anything. The kid already knows.
But if he does look to the bleachers, that's when we all do the. It's just a knowing nod.
That's your teammate. That's your teammate laying on the ground.
What has to be done right there.
He called him a B. You can't let that happen. I mean, how do you think the Volunteer dugout would have handled something like that?
Well, first of all,
they all turned into Tennessee Volunteers.
Yeah, exactly. This kid's probably being
heavily recruited right now. Seminole Headlines, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV continues in a moment.
Your local news now.
The Georgia Bureau of Investigation says it is investigating a shooting on Penelope Drive in Decatur County. The shooting happened a little after 6:30 p.m. Sunday. The case involved one boy shooting another boy several times in a home in that area. DCSO arrested the suspect and the victim was taken to Memorial Hospital. He is in stable condition. Ages of the boys were not disclosed. This case is active and ongoing. Anyone with information concerning the case is asked to call the GBI at 229-225-4090. A fire that occurred at Scott Elementary School is currently under investigation in Thomasville. The Thomasville Fire Department responded on Sunday after receiving reports of a fire at the school. The fire was in an adjoining bathroom between two classrooms. The bathroom was heavily damaged. Organic materials that were stored in the bathroom self-ignited and caused the fire. Officials said there was no suspicious activity that was found. This is Rachel Lene with your Real Talk 93.3 Local News Update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MaclemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. A heat advisory continues until 8 p.m. tonight. Scattered thunderstorms likely this afternoon, otherwise mainly cloudy. High of 95, west winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Scattered thunderstorms likely tonight, lows level off around 75, mainly cloudy. Chance for scattered storms tomorrow, 96. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, 90.
Hi, my name is Shannon Pash, and I'm the principal at Red Hills Academy. We will provide a challenging, rigorous curriculum. We will also work with our students to teach them how to set goals and then how to work to reach those goals. Red Hills Academy will offer the Spanish language every day. Relationships are really important to us, not just with our students, but with our families and the community. This benefits parents and students alike because parents get that involvement within the school. Easily apply online today at redhillsacademy.com.
Life is stressful. Dinner shouldn't be. That motto is why Register Sausage has been doing business in the Florida Panhandle and Lower Alabama for over 75 years. A proud sponsor of Seminole Headlines, Register Sausage always provides the best Southern smoked sausage to over 140 grocery stores and restaurants throughout the Southeast. Headliners have discovered the Register's difference. You can too. To find a store that carries Registers near you or to buy directly, head to registermeats.com. That's registermeats.com. Register Sausage. Yay, sausage!
Here's what you missed on the Greg Tish Show.
We need to have history. We need to have literature. It deserves an explanation. We don't need to be promoting lifestyles that come into play for your average elementary school.
Well, I had an experience with this. When my daughter was in school, her teacher gave her a book to read, but then she asked me what the C word is.
That was in the book.
That was in the book.
Okay, so about the C word. So you're talking about conservatives, right?
The Greg Tish Show, Monday through Friday, 6 to 9 a.m., only on Real Talk 93.3.
Seminole Headlines is brought to you by Register Sausage, serving the Florida Panhandle and Lower Alabama for over 75 years. To find a store near you or to buy directly from Registers, head to registermeats.com. That's registermeats.com.
Seminole Headlines returns now. Head to YouTube and search for Warchant TV today to catch the show live or on demand. Now, here's Jeff Cameron, Ira Schofel, and Corey Clark.
Rolling on, Seminole Headlines. We'll get to headliner questions in the next hour, obviously. And, listen, one thing I will bring up, there will be no shortage of candidates. So if for some reason, because I had a couple of people suggest this, and I just don't agree with them, they think it would be embarrassing if for some reason Mike Alford is unable to retain the services of Link Jarrett. I don't think so. I mean, if there is and I don't think it'll be Notre Dame, but let's just say hypothetically somebody wanted to pay him $2 or $3 million a year to be a baseball coach. Well, roll on, Big River. Good for you. I'm not paying my college coach $2 or $3 million a year.
Yeah, I don't think this is a Link Jarrett or bust situation. Like that's the only candidate out there. I think there's a ton of really good baseball coaches across the country. And like you said earlier, there's no guarantee Link Jarrett's going to have success. I mean, all this is kind of a crapshoot, man. Like Link Jarrett, when he got the Notre Dame job, I don't think anybody would have expected it to have gone the way it has, which is great.
Good for him.
But
He's
look
done a
at
good
the guy that just got fired at Clemson, Monty Lee. When he was at, where was he before? Charleston?
Troy, I think he was at Troy. I thought he was at Troy.
He was at another school in South Carolina.
Oh, maybe it was.
But
yeah.
when they got him, they were hell bent on getting him. They fired the former coach who'd been there forever to bring him in specifically. He was their only candidate. They bring him in, and it didn't go anywhere. So there's no guarantees, but Link Jarrett just fits on so many levels.
You bring up an interesting point. If you recall, and I know you do, Lopez wins that national championship out in Arizona and then gets to Florida and is a flop and gets fired and then goes and wins another national championship. He had won at Pepperdine. And then won one at Arizona. So think about that. That guy wins at Pepperdine, which is a miracle, and then gets the job at Florida.
Seemed like a no-brainer.
Right. And he
fails.
had
some success, but not
nothing close to what they thought. And then he got the Arizona job and won there.
And that was a fluky team.
Yeah, very well. Yes. And that's a team that if Florida State wins and loses to an extra innings, I might say, in the College World Series, you recall, had they won that game, they were set up to make that run, the elusive run. Well, anyhow.
It was College of Charleston. I don't know why I thought Troy. I don't know why I thought that. But yeah, College of Charleston. They were good. Yeah, the gallbladder, man. It's screwing with me. So yeah, and that's what I was talking about with when the decision was made 3 years ago to hire Meat. Link Jarrett, it's not like he was setting the world on fire at UNC Greensboro. He had a nice program, but they weren't threatening for Omaha. And there's no guarantee that a head coach at a mid-major is going to be better than an assistant at a major.
Not, yeah.
I mean, there's plenty of proof to go both ways. And with everything being equal, the name Martin and the fact that he'd been part of the program for 20 years probably wins out. But now that Link has done what he's done at Notre Dame, you feel much better in your own conference. You feel much better about that decision. Now, I will say this, oddly, because I brought it up to both of you guys that out of the 12 contributing guys, 13 they had in that super regional they won, 5 are grad students and 5 are seniors. So 10 of them.
Yeah, so it's a good time for him to leave.
But also there's 10 guys that he didn't recruit.
Oh, most of that team is guys he didn't recruit.
Which is crazy.
Yeah,
I mean that's
but winning with that group will go a long way in assisting his efforts to recruit here.
Sure.
Yeah, for sure. And again, it speaks to why it's a perfect time for him to take whatever opportunity he's got, whether it's Florida State, whether it's Clemson, wherever it's he's the people who think, oh, well, if Notre Dame wins a national title, he's staying. I think you're mistaken. There's going to be some euphoria if he wins a national title, but that's not where a college baseball coach, especially one who grew up in the Southeast, is striving to. That's not
the weather sucks. The city isn't a baseball city. Clearly, it's just not a great city.
Games.
Period. I mean, I talked about in the Smash. Yeah, they had a Friday night game against Clemson where they had 300 people as their attendance.
Who was ranked,
and then Virginia Tech the next week they had a 300 person attendance game, and then the Saturday night the big crowd must have been a bobblehead. Was 830. It was 830 people.
Right.
Like they just don't play in front of even 1,000 people.
A bad weekend series in tally is what, 4,000?
Imagine recruiting to that versus recruiting to this. I mean, there's a lot of reasons.
And then throw in the fact that he from here and played here.
So I mean, he might get offered. I don't know what even the highest college baseball coach makes, but even if he's offered 1.9 to go somewhere, or you get offered somewhere around
I just think
1.
if you're in the neighborhood of $1 million, which is probably the going rate for a top-tier college baseball coach that is being sought after by universities who have a lot of money, then,
throw some incentives in there. Tell him if he wins the College World Series, he gets $25 million.
So let's not do that.
But that would be Florida State's luck. They finally win one.
He'd win it the first year he's here.
They're not going to feel
we're
good.
Broke. Now we can't fire the football coach.
Great. Yeah. We can't pay Willie anymore.
So people have asked what other names are out there. Remember, the last go-around, there were a lot of guys that have Florida State ties, and not anybody that's hired has to have Florida State ties. There are other good coaches in baseball, of course. But there are guys that are well accomplished in the world of baseball. Some who've coached minor league baseball, some who've coached college baseball, some that were prolific players as pros, you name it, that wanted this job. I know Doug Minkiewicz wanted this job. Graffol's another guy.
Grafol.
Yeah, there are a lot of guys that
Kevin
wanted
Cash,
this.
maybe.
Don't think he's leaving.
Okay, all right, we'll see.
Yeah, I don't think we can match that salary.
Probably.
But I mean, like a lot of guys that have had success and been career baseball guys and that are very, very interested in the job. So, they'll have people to fall back on. They'll have people that are outside the Florida State family that are accomplished baseball coaches that recognize some of the built-in advantages of coaching here in Tallahassee.
Yeah, from what I heard, they were, even when the season ended, even before they fired Mike Martin Jr., there were people reaching out on behalf of baseball coaches around the country. Hey, are you guys going to make a change? Because we want to be involved. So, I mean, there's interest in this. There's a lot of interest in this job. And I know we kill Hauser all the time. Nobody like you.
It's a dump.
But in the state of the program and the investment, we talk about all these things. But the reality is it could be shined up and be a jewel again. This program is not, I'm not saying it could be one of the top 3 jobs in the country.
Yeah.
But there are things that can be done to get this job to back you. Any head coach that they hire, if it's the right head coach, to me, is going to Mike Lawford and saying,
what are we doing here?
I want to hear what the direction is. And I want like a tangible plan.
Oh, agreed.
For to get this back to what it used to be, because it could be there again. There's no reason they can't. There just has to be that commitment.
And don't you think, like, even if Link says no, I mean, I think you could look at, I don't know, 5 or 6 teams from the Super Regional, and their coaches would come to Florida State. I mean, I think East Carolina for sure.
Right.
I mean, Florida State still has that. I didn't realize that East Carolina's never been to Omaha, because they've been a good program for a long time. They've been in the College World or the tournament like 30 times and never even made it to Omaha once. But I feel like
let's not hire that guy.
Well, but he's only been there 5 years. They hosted a Super Regional, lost to Texas.
Yeah.
But like, I just think that those kind of programs, Florida State still towers above them.
Florida State
is still Florida State.
It's still a major name in college baseball, without question. I do think there's a long way to go with that stadium. The bowels of that stadium is.
But don't you think if you're somebody like Link Jarrett or somebody at Georgia Southern or the guy at East Carolina, you're like, man,
I don't want the guy from Georgia Southern either. Can we get some bigger names in here on this list?
They hosted
You're
a regional.
Really
they were top
low,
15.
baby. You're shooting really low.
But don't you think? I mean,
Can
he's
we
the
get that
equivalent
guy
of
at the University of Tampa to come here.
You got the head coach from Memphis to be the football coach. Just so I'm saying, like, when you think about Florida State, if those guys with those egos, and they've done well at these places, they're like, man, if I can get Georgia Southern to be a top 14 team in the country in Statesboro, Georgia, what could I do with all of that at Florida State? Same thing with Link Jarrett, or same thing with the guy from East Carolina.
I do think one thing that's been exposed, and I first guessed this. I get a lot of things wrong. I always put that out there, but I get a lot of things right too. I first guessed this about 5 to 7 years ago. You started seeing a trend where suddenly Florida State's stadium ranking, even within the ACC, was beginning to plummet, right? You like Virginia's and North Carolina's stadium were better. And then you start seeing like, why does Wake have a better stadium than us? And I started like looking at all this.
Why do their video boards have like stats on it?
Like real things that matter. It just looks nicer. Everything about it, and there's not a bunch of dust on the fans and puddles in the stands. So as we were sitting there, I was like, well, now it's not just a few ACC schools that have better facilities, baseball, than Florida State. It's all of them. Not named, say, Boston College. And then I start looking at every program in the SEC, which it stands to reason. They all have better facilities and a lot of energy at those games, at these SEC games. It's insane. Every park I'm looking at looks like it's a better facility than Florida State.
But how do they get the students to be so
active?
They
feed them booze
and they let them bring beer and stuff.
And Florida State doesn't allow that, Florida State also doesn't have a great place to like go hang.
Yeah.
There's no outfield.
Right.
There's no if you look at a lot of those places, like if you watch a game, Ole Miss or Mississippi State, where they're throwing beers in the air after home runs, it's all in the outfield. It's out there where they're just hooping and hollering. They let them barbecue out there. They let them drink all they want. They can bring all their own stuff in. They just got to keep it within reason.
Yeah, not at Florida State.
Go.
You'd be on the road. You could shut the road down.
Whatever that road stands there is the point. You have to give a place there to make it fun. You got to modernize it. I think they can. I agree with you. I think they have a shot at it.
I feel like you could sell seats on that screen too. That's something I've been a part of for a while. You put about 12 or 15 seats on that right field screen,
like Fenway, like we go out there, like the wall.
But you're hooking up to a harness because you're going to be on it.
And if you can hit one of those people,
it's 2 runs.
It's some sort of bonus. Right? It's like hitting the cow,
right? Yeah, you
Durham,
get a free steak or something.
You get a free steak. That'd be awesome. Seminole Headlines, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV continues in a moment.
Proud to call ourselves Paul because we work for a company that puts our customers first. We love what we do, and we love the principles our company demands.
Give our customers more than they expect and do everything within our power to keep them safe and comfortable.
We make a difference every day and know we protect the health of our thousands of North Florida customers that we are honored to call our friends.
And we're looking to bring a few more Pauls to our growing family. We have several openings now or in the very near future. Positions include termite, lawn, and general pest techs, route managers, inside sales, and customer service reps. Visit callpauls.com to see what's available and to find out how to apply. Every Pauls receives competitive pay with outstanding benefits, including health insurance, 401k, paid leave time, and holidays.
I'm Paul.
I'm Paul.
I'm Paul.
And you could be Paul too, for the elimination of termites and other pests.
And a greener lawn too. Call Pauls. We've been getting them all in North Florida for over 50 years.
Thank you for calling the Medicare Help Desk. How can we help you?
Can you help me choose the right coverage for myself and my wife?
We sure can. We can help you choose from Medicare supplements, Medicare Advantage, or standalone prescription drug plans from over 30 different insurance carriers.
How much does it cost? We have a fixed income and can't afford extra expenses.
At the Medicare Help Desk, the consultation is completely free. We are here to help.
Thank you, Medicare Help Desk.
Hi, this is Justin Colvin, founder of the Medicare Help Desk. In my 17 years of experience, I routinely speak to seniors who are overwhelmed by the multitude of coverage options available to them. That's why I created the Medicare Help Desk, a place for you to get clear answers to all your questions and make sense of all the confusion. I've helped thousands of clients, and I live right here in Tallahassee with my family. I am active in my church and wish to help and serve my community. If you need help navigating the Medicare landscape, I'm easy to find. Just visit the MedicareHelpDesk.com. That's the MedicareHelpDesk.com.
Well. Hey, Jeff, look at this place.
Yeah,
My
yeah.
goodness.
Well, doing well. It's been a while since I've seen you, brother, but, it hasn't been a while since I've been over to Gordo's. I go there on the regular because of you, Eddie.
Well, we keep you regular.
Well, that's true, but I think of Gordo's as a place to sit down, have a cold beer, talk to your friends, enjoy the sports, eat the delicious food. But I think of you as Uncle Eddie, a man who takes care of his people and takes care of the town.
I appreciate that, Jeff. Hey, and we'll keep you regular.
Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
Many orthodontists in Tallahassee can straighten a smile, but at Birch Orthodontics, they're dedicated to providing the finest care possible. The experienced and friendly staff is trained in all of the latest techniques. So whether you need standard treatment like braces or Invisalign, or you have a more complicated case requiring extra attention, Birch Orthodontics is here for you. Set up your free consultation today by visiting birchorthodontics.com, BURCH orthodontics.com, or call 850-877-1692. At Birch Orthodontics, they create beautiful smiles that last a lifetime.
Seminole Headlines returns now. Head to YouTube and search for Warchant TV today to catch the show live or on demand. Now, here's Jeff Cameron, Ira Schofel, and Corey Clark.
So as we head this week, Ira, into more camp activity, you're going to be out there this week.
I think I'm going to be out there again tomorrow, checking out the kiddies. I think tomorrow is a big man camp. It's a big, and they've got
that's an important camp.
Got like 50 something schools. Michael tells me. So I'll probably go out there and kind of check that out. See.
You watch the drills, or are you just hobnobbing?
Me,
mostly hobnobbing. Yeah,
you're not looking at the feet
and
like the knee flexion to see what you like.
Okay,
what
I'm
you
going to
don't
leave
like.
that. I'm going to leave that to some of the other experts out there.
Right.
And by that I mean other media.
Yeah, you're just forging relationships.
What I do,
as you should. Corey, you're not going.
No, it's gonna be. Well, I'll be on the road to Atlanta anyway, but it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be 114 degrees tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm not gonna be.
What
there
a great
either.
day for the big guys.
Yeah,
what a great time
They're
to come
excited.
to Tallahassee. Yeah,
they'll probably do a lot inside. On Saturday when I went out there, they moved it inside because of lightning threat possibility.
Kids are sitting around praying for lightning in this season.
Yeah, exactly right. Heat exhaustion camp.
Sometimes when we're out there in the fall, I'm reminded of the fact that I once played football and practiced in those pads and did those things in the state of Florida. And I've always reminded that I could not do that now. I don't know how they do it. It's 98 and humid. That's no way to live.
That's
folks.
how you live, though. That's how you lived your whole life.
that's-
You and William Floyd.
Yeah, there's no way.
Grew up.
It wasn't fun. And they made us, if you're going all the way back to those days, they made us start with this long-ass run around the 2 practice fields and the tennis courts.
And
That's
they
how we
didn't allow
started.
you to drink water, right?
Oh, well, no, they used that as an incentive, right?
Yeah.
Maybe you can have water if you don't screw this play up. Think about how backwards ass that was. People just dropping like flies.
They hydrate a lot better these days.
Yeah. They
And then
figured
that's
out.
a sign of weakness that a kid falls out because he's dehydrated.
Or he's
He
tired. I remember this one kid. I won't say his name. He was very big for his age. I felt very sorry for him. He was unskilled but big.
Yeah.
And we used to have to do all these drills where basically you're just over the dummies and it's footwork drills. Man, invariably by the end of practice, if we were doing some of those things, he'd fall out, and they would yell at him for falling out, and he was just dying of thirst. It's a wonder he's not dead.
When I covered high schools in South Georgia, this is in the early 90s. This isn't like the 60s.
Might as well be.
Thomasville High School was playing a football game, and several other guys got cramps during the game, which can happen in
Yeah, it's
August
hot as
in
Hades.
South Georgia. It was it was
Yes.
a season opener, And the high school coach got mad at me because he thought I was making their kids look soft. It's like, no, man, it's a human body.
Yeah.
People cramp. At FSU football practice, these are some of the best athletes in the
cramp
country.
all the time.
Get full body cramps.
Oh, and by the way, all of us listening, talking now know you get a calf cramp.
Oh, man.
That is not where it's at, baby. That is I have shot up in bed and about thrown my wife across the room with
start
calf
hopping
cramps.
around the room.
Oh, you're just reaching, trying to pull. Please, God, help.
The last one I got was in Biloxi after a heavy night of drinking. I didn't know you could drink yourself into a calf cramp.
Dehydrated.
I dehydrated myself so much. I'm like, what is this? I didn't just go run a race. Why is my leg doing this? And that was why. But hey, don't do that with vodka. Vodka, I'm fine. I can drink as much as I want. I make sound decisions.
You can drink anything you want starting post gallbladder surgery, baby.
Man, I can't wait to see what I'm going to be throwing in this thing.
You're like Keith Richards after a blood transfusion. We're back to heroin, baby. Whatever you want to do.
I can do
it's
whatever I want.
All new blood. Let's
That's why I'd like a younger gallbladder, honestly.
Back to heroin.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's too bad. But yeah, the calf cramps. I don't know. I can't even imagine what a full body cramp feels like. I mean, I know what a calf cramp felt like.
I don't know what a full body.
It's agony.
But hamstring cramps, calf cramps, thigh cramps, any of those kinds of cramps. You ever got a cramp in your jaw, like if you're like sitting there chewing gum or something? I don't chew a lot of gum, but if you do, have you ever had that where you start to cramp up or you yawn and get a cramp?
No.
That's highly trained athletes
now, let me
we're talking about now.
Let me explain something.
Yawn cramp.
As a man who drinks bare minimum 3 large cups of coffee every day and is also fond of the drink in the evenings, say like 4 or 5 beers, you marry those two on the back end. You start your day with coffee, you end your day with a few beers. You can wake up in the morning, yawn, and have a jaw cramp with the best of them. You can
just start smacking your face.
You're like, oh, good God, the pain. And then you get up and you guzzle some water, and you tell yourself as you look in the mirror, you've got to live a better lifestyle.
Yeah.
You've got to start making better and more responsible decisions. And then you go have a cup of coffee.
Right.
That's what you do.
And get ready. Start looking forward to that drink at the end of the day.
That's how that works, man. Yeah, you don't make actual changes. You just tell yourself you're going to make those changes.
And you might have that conversation every day.
Every day.
For months.
And at some point you'd say, you're just broken, Jeff. You're just broken. And then you go ahead and say that, let that wash over for a second, and then go, well, but your wife loves you and your kids love you. Go get your coffee.
Yeah, you've already lived a good life. No matter what happens
You're
after
51
this.
years
You
old.
made it
What
to
do you
50.
care?
You made it to 50.
Yeah.
Ira, have you seen the new Top Gun yet?
No, Kim and I were talking about going tomorrow night.
Why is this a repeat subject?
I took Brady. I took Brady
We
yesterday.
don't need to keep talking about Top
But
Gun.
I took Brady yesterday, and I came to the conclusion that I think, based on the original material,
which is awful,
this is the best sequel that's ever been made.
I get where you're going. I had this discussion. It's funny that we're doing this now. I said that when I went back and watched the first one again before going to see the new one, and I did so just because I wanted to be reminded of some of the subtleties of the first one.
Right.
So I went back and watched it, and I remember being somewhat appalled as I watched it. I was like, this is the worst movie I've ever seen. I forgot this was I don't know that there are too many non sequiturs in one movie. It's the silliest thing ever. And then you
Pretty
have
thin script, very stereotypical
dumb
characters.
homoerotic volleyball scene. Everything you're like, what is going on with all of this? And so all of that was troubling. And then comparatively, this looks like an Oscar award winner.
Yeah.
I see where you're going with it.
Because Godfather 2 is a great sequel, but
an incredible
Godfather,
sequel.
Godfather was really, really good.
It is, but Godfather 2 is really good.
Alien was good. Aliens was really good. Top Gun
is so awful.
I mean,
then to see it
was a
come together
popcorn
like
movie,
this.
but this is a good movie.
Well,
Ira.
let's go easy.
It's
I don't
a good
get his
movie.
hopes all up.
No,
Like he's about to see Schindler's List
he's
or
not the only
something.
person telling me that. I've had several people tell me how good this sequel is.
It's good.
The only difference between it and Schindler's List, as Jeff said, is it's not in black and white; it's in color. But everything else is.
I'm just saying, go see it with nominal expectations, and you'll come out.
That's sailed past.
You're going to go in feeling you'll feel very good afterwards. If you go in thinking that it's like Corey's talking about it, you're going to be disappointed.
It's so much better than you would have ever thought it would be.
I'm just disappointed you've completely forgotten about Smokey and the Bandit 2.
Ooh.
And Cannonball Run.
Look, again, both of those were so good, and their first ones were so good.
Empire Strikes Back is better than all of those.
Yeah, but again, Star Wars was good. I'm just saying, from a not a very well thought out movie in the beginning, it was cool at the time, to this with a real script, with good acting, with conversations and lines in script that makes sense. Man, it's good stuff.
Somebody
man,
on
the
the
kid
chat-
does a great job as Goose's kid.
Somebody did a good job here on the chat. Rocky 2 is really good.
Yes.
I'll get out of
Rocky
here.
2, what?
Rocky 2 is
Get
great.
the hell out of here. Rocky 2 is really good.
But it's not better than the original. And
no, because the original's good.
That's the whole point of what I'm trying to say.
I get it, but you can't then overstate how good this is just because by way of comparison, it's not the worst movie ever made.
Would you say it's 5 times better than the original?
100 times better than the original.
That's my point.
Well, listen, man, if a guy films himself peeing on a wall and then makes a movie afterwards for part 2, and it has a script and
I'm
dialogue,
not going to let you.
And,
denigrate the greatness of the first Top Gun.
It's so
which
bad.
Changed cinema. It changed cinema. You got to see Anthony Edwards in a tank top.
The first one is reprehensibly bad when you go back and watch it.
It just doesn't make a lot of sense.
It's the dumbest damn movie ever made.
But Kelly McGillis was in it. God bless her. Not in this one though, Ira. So don't get your hopes up.
Oh no! Don't you don't have to be disappointed. He's done. He's done.
This segment's over, right?
He's had enough. Hour number 2 forthcoming. Stay with.
Coming up next, more of the Jeff Cameron Show. Live and local on Real Talk 93.3. WVFT, Gretna, Tallahassee.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm John Scott. President Biden defended his economic policies during a speech to the country's largest labor union. White House correspondent Greg Clugston with that report.
In Philadelphia, the president delivered a pro-union speech before a friendly AFL-CIO audience.
I'm not joking. Without unions, there'd be no middle class.
He argued that his economic policies, not the GOP's, will help the nation fight inflation and said his work is not finished.
Jobs are back, but prices are still too high. COVID is down, but gas prices are up.
The president is mired in low job approval ratings, and his union speech was aimed at shoring up support ahead of the midterm elections. Greg Clugston, Washington.
Also at townhall.com, enough Republicans have signed on to a new gun law proposal to override a GOP filibuster in the Senate. More from Bob Agnew.
10 Republicans are on board with the compromise that reportedly will provide money for states to establish new red flag laws and expand mental health care. Texas conservative John Cornyn is the lead GOP negotiator. He says the NRA has agreed to refrain from weighing in on the proposals until all the details are unveiled. However, the NRA warns it will continue to oppose any efforts to circumvent due process or, quote, efforts to deprive law-abiding citizens of their fundamental right to protect themselves and their loved ones. Bob Agnew reporting.
Wall Street wobbling in its first trading day after tumbling into a bear market on worries central banks will clamp the brakes too hard on the economy. Investors bracing for the Federal Reserve's announcement on Wednesday about what it will do with interest rates. A couple of big companies have flexed financial strength with stronger profits and payouts to shareholders. The Dow is down 192 points, but the Nasdaq is ahead 13. More at townhall.com.
Are you kidding me? Gas prices are up again? Somebody has to do something.
Well, someone did. That's why I use Upside.
Upside? What's that?
It's a free app that pays you back real money for every gallon of gas or diesel you buy. I just earned 25 cents back on every gallon of this tank.
Hold on. So the Upside app is free and you actually get cash back every time you use it? No strings attached?
Yep, it's awesome. Check it out. It only takes a couple of minutes to sign up.
Instead of just watching your dollars go into your tank, start putting money back into your wallet with the free app from Upside. With the price of gas today, it's big news and big money. To cash out of your Upside cash, just transfer it to your bank account, PayPal, or a gift card. Upside users have already earned over $200 million. Now it's your turn. Download the free Upside app and start getting cash back on every gallon of gas. Use promo code SALEM for an extra 25 cents per gallon cash back in your first fill up. That's promo code SALEM. Remember, use promo code SALEM for an extra 25 cents per gallon back in your first fill up.
Now go call Seminole Glass. They'll get on the road and get it done fast.
Your local family-owned glass company, serving the Big Bend for over 15 years. At Seminole Auto Glass, we care about your safety. Insurance will send you wherever it benefits them, not the quality of service. There's a difference in auto glass companies. Trust your local auto glass experts. Seminole Auto Glass.
They handle any kind of broken glass, and you know who
Better call Seminole.
Live and living color and totally free. Subscribe to Warchant TV on YouTube, the digital home of Warchant.com. From the practice field to pregame and the phone calls afterwards, Warchant's YouTube channel is home to live programming like Seminole Headlines, Wake Up Warchant, The Jeff Cameron Show, as well as Trench Talk, a live Q&A with Noles offensive lineman Devontae Love-Taylor. Just search Warchant on YouTube and click or tap the subscribe button. That's it. It's totally free. Warchant TV on YouTube. Just another reason we're the ultimate Seminole sports source.
It's time for Seminole Headlines, featuring Warchant.com's Jeff Cameron, managing editor Ira Schofel, and senior writer Corey Clark. Your weekly dose of all things FSU, pistols, and pies starts right now. Here's Jeff Cameron.
Hour number 2, time for headliner questions here on Seminole Headlines. I'm Jeff. Voice guy said that. Corey and I were there in the other studio. You can see if you're watching on Warchant TV. Don't forget, if you are doing just that, like and subscribe to Warchant TV. Helps others find the program. This hour brought to you by Birch Orthodontics. Our friends at Birch Orthodontics, the best in the business. My kids, Irish kids, they've all been there, all satisfied customers, and are made to feel better about the process and your understanding of that, and the ease with which you kind of go through that, made possible by their expertise, their kind staff, and also their the economic game plan you can go through with them too, Ira. It's all there,
See,
buddy.
Did you have braces as a kid?
No, my teeth are perfect. Always have been.
Nice. Yeah. I can tell. That's the first thing I noticed about you.
You didn't.
Your enormous head and
you
then
know what
the
it is?
teeth.
You didn't notice that my teeth because they were perfect.
Well, I did. I was like, wow, they were so
that
perfect.
Guy like that. How about that? No, my kids lament that I didn't have braces. I think that's a very odd thing. I don't know. Yes, she did. Yes, she did.
Because that was the thing. Like Kim and I had neither of us had braces.
Yeah, you got perfect teeth too.
Oh yeah, beautiful.
What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do?
So it was like new to us too.
Yeah.
So that's the cool. And there's like a stigma. You just don't know. You don't.
I make
know
fun of my
when you go
in.
in.
For their teeth being crooked.
That's not really part of this segment.
Yeah, we're not talking about making fun of your kids.
But that's the cool thing when you go to Birch Orthodontics. Their website
they don't
is
make fun of them.
birchorthodontics.com.
Thankfully,
if you go in there, they will explain it all very carefully and slowly and just make you at ease with the process.
If you want your dad to stop making fun of your jacked up teeth,
that's right.
Go to Birch Orthodontics.
Or maybe they could leash you out and you could.
I can tease the kids as they come in.
Kids until they decide.
Until they decide they need to go do it.
Antagonize them.
Yeah.
I with Clark at an early age, we established that he was going to need braces. Just one day I was passing by and he was brushing his teeth, and I go, "Good God, you look like an alien!" And he kind of he shunned a little, recoiled.
That's one way to parent.
Yeah, he may have winced even.
Right.
And then I thought, oh, that was piercing. All right, well, I'll come back and give him a little encouragement. And on my way back down the hall, I saw him on the ass,
alien.
and I said, "But I love you."
Yeah. Oh, that's
So
that
there it
better.
is.
I
There
thought
it
you told me you looked like a good looking alien.
And
let me tell you about Dr. Birch.
Yeah. So, yay, Dr. Birch. We do appreciate all the hard work that she and her staff put together. And if you're looking for that, if you need that, if your kids need that, that's the place to go. And we're not joking about that. All right, let's get the headliner questions. Let's do this. Couple good ones here. I'm going to start on Facebook. Just like to get it out there where I'm starting.
Right.
Okay. Gator Kirk writes, "Good afternoon, gentlemen. What is the percentage each of you would give that Link is the next baseball coach?" That's actually a fair and pointed and direct question, and I appreciate that. I think it's very high. I would say 75%.
That's exactly where I was at.
Going to say.
75.
How about that?
There
Look
we
at
go.
a unanimous Seminole headline.
Yeah,
that's the first time in history.
We're 100% on 75%.
Wow, how about that? Yeah, I'd say 75%. And then I know I can kind of marry a couple questions here without finding the exact one, but it was along the lines of, what are we looking for in the next baseball coach? A disciplinarian, a strategist, Corey?
Or a strategarian.
Strategarian.
What is it you want to see in the next baseball coach?
I mean,
fundamentals would be good.
Yes, somebody that drills into fundamentals, like deep down into fundamentals.
Ensures that guys know.
You guys know that, like that Tennessee pitching staff, they got first rounders everywhere, and they all throw 97. And Notre Dame was striking out 5 times a game, 6 times a game. I think one time they struck out 8 when they brought in the kid that throws 103. But they weren't striking out 15 times in a game. I don't know, again, if that's just the guys that were there or if there's something fundamentally that Link teaches about how to make contact and how to pick up a baseball and throw it to the right base, but and run the bases well. But that 3 games in that place,
and throw the right bases.
They were very, very impressive. And so you want somebody, whether it's Link or anybody else, that really preaches and harps on defense and base running. and making contact. Those are three really important things.
Our Twitter question, going back and forth here so everybody's aware, our Twitter question is first, the first one lobbed is from our friends at Register Sausage, from the account.
Oh, all right.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah, so Ben or whoever he has running.
Ben or one of his
Ben's
minions?
a big deal. He may have a minion doing that. Sure. As grown men, do you take your pillow with you on vacation? I did for the first time last week, he writes. At first, I thought my wife had made me too domesticated by bringing my pillow. But, fellas, it's a game changer for my neck and back. Well, I will answer a resounding yes, I take a pillow with me if it's a place I'm going that I can drive. I do not pack it if it's a flight.
That's a weird distinction.
I'm not lugging a pillow with me in my carry-on
through the airport.
and I'm not sticking it in my travel bag. So
Corey packs a fan.
I do pack a
my
and
wife
not just
does too.
No, but I have a big box fan, like 2 feet by 2 feet or 3 feet. It's a box fan.
You got issues.
Well, I need it
Do
to
you
sleep.
forward it? You forward it?
Well, and if he forgets it,
you got to go
while you're
buy
on the
one.
ride, you got to go find. Well, we'll be driving around whatever town
Walmart's
it is.
right there.
Yeah.
You
Trying
gotta
to
go.
find a box fan for Corey at the middle of the night when we get into
Yep.
a town.
And so yeah, when I fly, and the last time I flew was out to California. Tim Linnefelt was with me. I went to a Walmart because I couldn't bring a fan on the flight. I couldn't bring you can't pack a big box fan.
Of course not.
So I went to a Walmart there, and they had like a noise canceling fan. And I'm like, no, I want a fan that makes noise.
All the noise.
I want the loudest fan you have.
And it was
if you can give me something that makes the noise without even
I don't even
fanning
need the air
anything.
circulating.
And so I went and opened they let me open the box and plug it in to see how noisy it was in the store before I bought it. And then I left it there when I was done.
And they're still telling that story.
They probably are if they're still working at that Walmart in downtown LA or whatever that was. I think it was a grocery store.
I've never packed
Or
a pillow,
pharmacy.
but that's just because I'm dumb. I think
I don't
Ben's
think you're
smart.
dumb at all.
Just never thought about it.
I feel like it's more of a
cumbersome.
I feel like it's more of a woman thing though, and I'm not judging women. They think more.
They're better than us, but I do judge them.
Well, we judge them for other things, but
Oh,
not
all
bringing
the
a pillow.
time.
But their comfort is very important, and so Stephanie always packs a pillow and a blanket.
Really?
And Brady packs his pillow.
That
so
seems excessive.
well,
So way too many pillows being packed in your
they're
family
used to like
unit.
7-hour drives with me though too. Like
Drives are fine. You
yeah.
can pack all you want.
I'm
on a
not
drive.
flying, so it's always the drive
but
with me.
Flight, you're not doing the pillow.
Well, sure.
Doesn't make any sense.
It's a good question though.
Charlton,
I've never done it. I've never packed a
Charlton's going to the top of the line because the end of his Twitter question reads, "I love you guys."
Okay.
So he just goes,
Perfect.
he gets bumped right off the bat. And he writes, more likely, football, 9 wins, or basketball, 20 wins.
Basketball.
Yeah, basketball's
I
probably
agree
more
with
likely.
that. Yep. That's the second thing on this show that the three of us have agreed.
Consensus
I mean,
Tuesday.
it's crazy. Craig writes, with all eyes on Link for the FSU baseball job, who are the underlying candidates that could step in if Link were to win the World Series? Because I don't think he's going to take the job if he wins at Notre Dame. Now, we disagree with this sentiment. We think that he would still
I
leave
also
Notre
feel
Dame.
like what a great time to leave.
What a time
you
to leave.
just won them
You'll
a national
never do it again
championship.
there, buddy. Get the hell up out of Dodge.
It's not like you've got a team where you've got like this amazing class of sophomores
Correct.
where you can run it back next year. All those kids are gone too. I say
Yeah.
kids, they're all 22, 23,
Yeah,
24-year-olds.
They all can probably run for Congress.
But who else is candidate? We talked about some of those guys in the first hour.
Yeah.
I mean, one guy I'm curious, I don't know much about his background, but I just was real impressed when we've seen him in the past is the guy at Michigan. He's obviously doing a really good job. I don't know I haven't researched his background and whether or not he'd be interested, but he certainly has done a good job.
Yeah, he is a good coach. And I would also say, I just thought of it. Now I can't think of it again. So keep going. But that's a good one.
Gallbladder.
Yeah, gallbladder, man. You're right.
Struggling. Can we speed up that surgery? Can you get it Monday?
Oh,
you
what
have
about
your
I got
gallbladder
it? What
or
about the
bladder
dude
surgery?
at Virginia Tech?
Yeah.
I mean, he's
Yeah.
built himself. They were a number 4 seed in the country, man.
Kind of feels like a Johnny come lately fly by night hire. I don't know.
I mean, he's done as much. He's been at Virginia Tech as
Feels
long
like
as
a
Link's
Steve
been at Notre
Robinson
Dame.
hire.
All right.
See, it
just
feels like a
saying.
Steve Robinson just had a good run at Tulsa. Let's hire him.
I'm going to look him up. I'm going to look up the Virginia Tech
I
and
could
the
be
Michigan
completely
coach.
off base, by the way. That came from a place with no knowledge whatsoever. Just a feeling.
I was
Right.
impressed by
Well, sometimes you got to hire on your gut. You just got to have opinions on your gut.
Yeah.
You know what I like about the Auburn guy, and I just hearing him talk before the Super Regional, talking about Omaha, not just getting to Omaha, but winning in Omaha. After again, the talk here for 30 years has been Omaha, just getting to Omaha, and he was, which is great. But his point was, it needs to be more than that. It needs to be winning the national title. And I just think I think one of the things somebody asked what we're looking for. Listening to him talk, some of these coaches, just listening to them talk, the leadership, you want some of that.
The inspiration.
Yes.
Oh, that was a great game they won last
Yeah.
night. Did you watch that?
Yeah.
It was a good game.
So the guy at Virginia Tech came to Virginia Tech from Maryland, where he ended a 43-year tournament drought by winning 40 games at Maryland, and then he's been at Virginia Tech for 5 years.
So you gave me the highlight there at Maryland. What was his career like at Maryland?
Well, it's Maryland.
It's Maryland, buddy. Come on.
just
What are we
saying,
gonna
man.
do?
I'm
And he was at
telling you.
Marist College before that.
Yeah, I don't think it's the right
Those
guy.
Marist teams were killer.
I mean, he made 4 NCAA regionals at Marist.
Doesn't feel like the right guy, Corey.
Okay. I mean,
Paul-
he's got
Paul-
a crazy name. It's
That's another reason.
John Szefik, Szefc.
Not a candidate.
Okay.
Paul
Fair.
writes.
Just because we can't say his
that's
name.
it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not a guy. Paul writes, greetings, gentlemen. As a finely aged Nole fan that grew up in Tallahassee back when the ragtag football team's uniforms didn't match, and Hugh Durham nearly shocked the world by ending UCLA's basketball championship streak because he had the interesting idea of letting humans with a different skin color play college sports.
Mhm.
That's very good. He goes, don't mock me because of my age. It was quite exhilarating to watch Seminole come thundering into Doak on a brontosaurus and plant the spear,
Sure.
though not flaming because fire had yet not been discovered. All that to say that I don't know the deets on how FSU gets the money to keep up. Tiny med school, short history, Al the corporate reaper is gone, etc. All are problematic for us. Any details on how FSU solves this 80-year mystery for me would be appreciated, i.e. IPTE, a few big buck boosters, political figures, Hollywood actors, etc. Gratefully, Paul, not the apostle. P.S. Please speak slowly. There are a lot of static here on this AM station.
Well, that was definitely not a Twitter question because that was about 15 Twitter
By
posts.
the way, Paul wrote distinctly funny. He was
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
It was
What
good.
are you judging, Ira? And I like. Did he really use the
Succinctly.
term deets?
Yeah.
All right, Paul.
Yeah,
Let's see what's going on. You wouldn't have thought
Little
deets was
hips-
coming in
little
there.
hips
Yeah.
in there, yeah. So Paul's question is, how do they get that done? That's a fair question. It's been a question that I have said this time and again, that the very thing that Florida State alumni fans, booster supporters of any kind have used as a badge of honor, which is that we've achieved in half the time what the University of Florida has, what so many prestigious schools that have been part of the bigger picture of the college football world for much longer have, that we used to wear that all the time. We'd say, well, listen, sorry it took you guys an extra 50 years to achieve what we've achieved. But that very thing haunts this university now, and that is that you do not have the deep pockets of generational wealth that has come through your university and passed it on to the next and passed it on to the next and passed it on to the next. You don't have it.
Yeah, I think there's two different issues, but one of them is, I really just think that I do think there's going to be a change in the landscape. And I do believe at some point, whether it's 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, I do believe there's going to be a move to some sort of mega conferences. I just don't see how this is going to sustain. There are too many schools like Florida State that have been successful in football, but will not be able to keep up if two conferences are making 3 times as much as every other conference. And so I think they're going to move, so the competition is going to suffer, the sport's going to suffer. I think they're going to make that move because they all can make more money if they do that. And then when that happens, then it becomes more like pro sports where you have revenue sharing across the sport. Now, I think that's going to minimize the differences between the schools. So that's my thought. If it doesn't happen, there's other things to do with your life.
You think sure, but do you think one of the problems that like a school like Florida State has? Because look, 80 years they've been a co-ed school for almost 80 years now. That's not 10. I mean, you're approaching a century. I know they're behind, but the problem is that, in my opinion anyway, one of the problems has to be like colleges are so expensive now.
It's absurd. The advanced educational system is broken, but that's a different discussion.
But I think it isn't when you're having to when it costs so much to just attend a university, like hundreds of thousands of dollars theoretically, to then after you're done be like, okay, here's some more money that I need to keep giving
most people
you.
resent the fact that they're broken in debt after finishing school.
Right.
And many of these schools now have just become
people like
degree
Florida
factories because the retention rates are at 95%, and they advertise that. Like, if you get into our school, we're not going to
remember weed out classes?
That's
back
exactly
in our day,
right.
we had weed out classes.
It's
they were
absurd.
trying to fail you out your freshman year.
To promote retention rate just belittles my degree and yours and anybody else that's got
But
one.
I would assume like Brady's schooling is going to cost what, 200% more than mine did? I don't know. I mean, a
more than
lot,
that. More than that.
500%,
way more than
unless he's like, Ira's daughter, and they all pay. Maybe they're all going to pay Brady.
He
to come
better
to
get
school.
on it.
And that doesn't seem like it's going to happen, especially if he keeps trying to steal home. I mean, that's ridiculous.
From 90 feet.
From 90 feet, it's ridiculous on a delay steal at
With
home.
your best hitter at the plate.
But like, you have to pay so much money now just to go to college. That I feel like Texas and Florida and Texas A&M, all that old money, they didn't have to pay that much to go to college, so they have a lot more money
Well, and not
to spend.
And not just that, the the programs that Florida State was not able to offer because the legislature wouldn't let them offer for so many years.
Correct.
Yeah.
is the bigger problem. So the deep pockets that were forged 80 years ago, 70 years ago.
Right. You can't. It's hard to catch up now. It's almost impossible now.
So Greg asked a question, but I think that's rhetorical, Greg. I understand that you fancy yourself a realist, and I think that you more often than not are. Yes, Florida State would be picked into a mega conference. They have been one of the most successful programs in college football over the last 50 years. Yeah. If we were talking about teams with cachet, real name brand, and PR value, Florida State is a chief amongst them.
I would think. I know this was 5 years ago now. They had the most wins in the country since 1980. That was 5 years ago. Now, they haven't stacked a lot up on them since then. So I'm sure maybe Alabama's passed them or somebody else.
And the numbers, if you look at
but they're
ratings
still top
for games,
5.
They're always huge.
Of course
Florida
they are.
State.
Yeah.
They're a major name brand. So yes, they would get picked up.
What about Kevin Saldana's hypothetical here on the screen that Matthew put up there?
September will be important. We only beat Duquesne by 13, lose to LSU by 14, beat Louisville by 1 after they miss a field goal, and then we beat BC by 10. We're 3-1, but how do you feel?
Much better than you did last year.
Much better than you did last year, but I would be very, very concerned if you beat Duquesne by 13.
Yes.
I'm going to have a hard time with that.
If it's 20-7,
yeah, dude,
that's going to be tough.
It's going to.
I'll still go to New Orleans, but I don't know if I go to the game.
Choice, my
but
friend.
I don't know if I go to the game. That would be that'd be rough to only beat Duquesne by 13 points.
Mark writes, Corey, if we beat LSU and Louisville and start off 4-0, would you get braces from Dr. Birch for the rest of the season with Aslan filming?
I mean, can I not just eat at Horizons? Do I have to do the Birch thing? Can I eat some sausage? Why would I have to get the braces, Mark? But hey, I wasn't. Don't be gross. But I'll eat some registers as much as they want. I'll do Well, no, man, I'm gonna have that new gall. Well, right. I don't have a gallbladder. I can eat whatever. So I'll do eat all the registers I can in like 10 minutes. We'll have we can have a sausage eating contest.
You ready to puke on film, huh?
Well, we'll do it all together, the three of us. Well, even you don't like to eat sausage.
I occasionally do these days, only if it's registers.
Of course.
Every now and again.
That's the distinction you always make.
Every now and again. Final question for the first segment, Burke writes, and I've really made the rounds here, guys. I'm kicking more ass than most. Right to in a day.
This is why I always complain about what you do, is because I know the potential, man.
It's in there.
I see it in there.
If I just would focus.
Yes.
Yeah. How much improvement should we expect for FSU's offense in 2022? This is a question asked by Burke. As an offensive mind, wouldn't a big offensive improvement be a bigger key than our expected defensive improvement for this season, especially considering returning quarterback, offensive line, and skill transfers? 2021 compared to 2020 wasn't much better on offense. It was the defense that improved pretty significantly by the end of the year. Yeah, I would like to think that we're going to take strides here. And
I don't think there's going to be any much improvement on defense. I mean, the defense could be as good. It might be a little bit better.
It'll probably have better numbers at the end of the year
because they were so bad to start the year.
But yes, what you saw in November, what you saw in November is probably what you hope.
You're not going to be a whole lot better than that. You might be some, but you're not going to be a whole lot better than that.
Yeah,
but offensively, yes, man, you went out, you got 4 wide receivers. Keep hearing really good things about Winston Wright's recovery. It's way better than what they thought originally. So
come on, Winston Wright.
He may be back. He may be back early in the season, which would be huge.
It's bad news for Duquesne.
Micah Pittman. I mean, you brought in the offensive line. I just think there's Jordan Travis is the unquestioned starter. He's the guy. He's got this whole offseason to be a leader. Yeah, man, the offense should be a lot better.
If it isn't,
that's the problem.
That's like an inherent problem. Like it's a problem where you're like, it's a fundamental problem in year 3 if it hasn't gotten.
A lot of pressure on Jordan Travis, kids.
Yeah, which therein lies a lot of pressure on Mike Norvell to make sure Jordan Travis is good. Like not just okay every now and again, but good.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm knocking on wood, man. He's got to take a big step forward.
I mean, I think 5 points a game difference.
But again, the way he played in the second half, I mean,
he was good enough.
Yeah, he's not Tom Brady, but he can be a very good. I think he can be a very good college quarterback with all of the pieces around him being better, and they are going to be better. So, I think
gonna need him to average what I say 31 or 32 gets you to 8 wins.
Yeah,
last year was like 27.
I had Jordan as the 6th or 7th best quarterback in the ACC. If he can be one of the 3 or 4 best quarterbacks in the ACC, they're going to go a long way to improving that offense.
Yeah, we're going to go a long way to Pasadena.
I mean, they will.
And again, just imagine playing quarterback behind that line, And with those receivers, the
Those
last couple of
receivers
years,
is rough. Yeah, they didn't
Well,
get
also at
make
the
any
beginning of the
plays
year
for you.
last year, they hadn't decided who was going to be the quarterback. I do need him to stay healthy. I do need him to not miss practice. I do need him to be the guy. Hopefully he will be. He's put on weight. He's the unquestioned leader. He can do all those things. Seminole Headlines, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Look at this place.
Yeah,
goodness.
well, doing well. It's been a while since I've seen you, brother, but, it hasn't been a while since I've been over to Gordo's. I go there on the regular because of you, Eddie.
Well, we keep you regular.
Well, that's true, but I think of Gordo's as a place to sit down, have a cold beer, talk to your friends, enjoy the sports, eat the delicious food, but I think of you as Uncle Eddie, a man who takes care of his people and takes care of the town.
I appreciate that, Jeff. Hey, and we'll keep you regular.
Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
Refreshing and simple. 2 words you don't hear many people use to describe their experience going through the process of getting a home loan. That's what puts the Hamilton Home Loans experience in a category all their own. If you're buying or refinancing a home, Hamilton Home Loans will provide a personalized mortgage experience that is dedicated to making the process refreshingly simple. It all begins with an initial consultation with an experienced Hamilton Home Loans advisor to find out what your goals are in order to find the right mortgage to suit your specific needs. Then, your personal home loan advisor will take you through all the steps from application, underwriting, approval, and closing, all the way to the front steps of your new home. Once you've experienced the Hamilton home loan process, you can be a customer for life and never have to pay lender fees again. For first responders, nurses, physician assistants, teachers, active and retired military, ask about the Hamilton for Heroes program. Personalized attention with your needs put first. Now that's refreshingly simple. Find out more at HamiltonHomeLoans.com. That's HamiltonHomeLoans.com.
Equal housing lender. NMLS number 200719.
This is Ken Wondergem, owner of Gem Mazda of Tallahassee. Since the new car supply shortage, it's common knowledge that your trade-in is worth $2,000 to $3,000 more. However, other manufacturers' dealers are adding $2,000 to $3,000 to the price of their new cars, so you end up losing your equity. At Gem Mazda of Tallahassee, you'll keep your equity, since we will not mark up the price of the new Mazda you want while still giving you more for your trade. And since we're not marking up our new car prices, our pre-sold list is growing by the day. Reserve your new Mazda today and discover Mazda's award-winning quality and the high level of service and care you'll receive at Gem Mazda, where there's no additional markup on any of our new luxury performance vehicles. Gem Mazda of Tallahassee, where we take our slogan seriously. No games, no gimmicks, just a gem of a deal. And no additional markups. Come see us soon, Capitol Circle Northwest, just up from West Tennessee Street, and always open at gemmazda.com.
If you buy too much, you waste money. If you come up short, you waste time. And if you don't have the right metal, you waste time and money. You got to spend wisely. MetalSupermarkets.com is your online source for metal with the deepest metal inventory. Just enter your dimensions and we'll cut the metal to your exact spec and deliver it to your home, business, or job site. MetalSupermarkets.com. Any metal cut to size and ready fast is just a few clicks away. MetalSupermarkets.com.
DQ presents a burger and blizzard meal matchup. Today's matchup is Bryce Harper's new DQ meal with flamethrower signature stacked burger, fries, and a cookie dough blizzard versus Tim Anderson's new DQ meal with a bacon 2-cheese deluxe signature stacked burger, fries, and an Oreo blizzard. Who picks the winner? That's you. Visit DQ.com to cast your vote for which meal should be the official meal of MLB. But first, try them both today. DQ. Happy tastes good.
Life is stressful. Dinner shouldn't be. That motto is why Register Sausage has been doing business in the Florida Panhandle and Lower Alabama for over 75 years. A proud sponsor of Seminole Headlines, Register Sausage always provides the best Southern smoked sausage to over 140 grocery stores and restaurants throughout the Southeast. Headliners have discovered the Register's difference. You can too. To find a store that carries Registers near you or to buy directly, head to registermeats.com. That's registermeats.com. Register Sausage. Yay, sausage!
Seminole Headlines returns now. Head to YouTube and search for Warchant TV today to catch the show live or on demand. Now, here's Jeff Cameron, Ira Schofel, and Corey Clark.
It's a good question from Brian, a Facebook question. Brian writes, hey, fellas. By the way, you guys see what you've done to me? I'm broken. I have to signify where the questions are coming from so I don't get a bitch fest on the other side of the glass.
There's only one of them one of us that really cares.
You could just stay at Twitter a little longer and then not have to worry about
it. I was
There's only one that
rattling off Twitter questions a moment ago. He still doesn't believe it. I can ask everyone.
I know. I don't know why you ask Twitter questions at all if he's going to treat you like that.
It's true. Brian writes, hey, fellas, I'm always hearing you all, especially Jeff, talk about how bad Coach Dugans has been at getting wide receivers recruited and or developed. And I'm right about that. Then other days I hear you talk about the quarterbacks, how bad they've been as passers, and what wide receiver would want to come here to such a bad passing team. So which is it? Is Dugans a bad recruiter, or is it impossible to get good wide receivers to this team? How is Dugans as a coach recruiter at UM? I think Coach needs time, get a decent passer. We'll see how he recruits then.
That's a fair argument. I think the argument on the other side would be there are so many wide receivers that can play. There's so many athletes in the state of Florida particularly, but certainly in the Southeast, that you should be able to identify some guys who can run, jump, and catch.
Yes.
I mean, there are dudes, you'll see them.
Think about Louisville. Like, they had a guy that was so good, Alabama came and poached him, and they had another really good receiver last year. And it's not like they were all fired up to go play with Malik Cunningham before they knew how good he was. You know, they were developed and got recruited and
many of them
evaluated.
recruited to Louisville when Puma Pass was there.
And I'm not necessarily blaming all of that on Ron Dugans. I'm not. You might be. I'm not. But I would say this.
I just know the position that he recruits and his inability to bring in receivers.
I would just say that, what they've had at wide receiver, and it's not all him. Some of it predates him. There are guys here that predate him. They have not recruited well at wide receiver. And that's a position where you don't have to be elite to get good players.
It's also ridiculous.
It's hard to get defensive linemen. It's hard to get offensive linemen.
Correct.
But you should be able to get receivers.
It's absurd, and it predates Ron Dugans, but he hasn't helped matters. So it's very frustrating that you have two former Seminole wide receivers who were great when they were here, who I think have failed at the job.
And then they've had a few players come through. I think DJ Matthews was a talent. It didn't work out, and he's now at Indiana.
Yeah.
I think the kid Brian Robinson from South Florida was a 4-star guy. It didn't work out. So, I mean, even when they've hit on some guys who are highly recruited, they haven't really panned out.
No. And that's the development part that we argue about too. Zach writes, hypothetically, let's say Alford goes in another direction and decides to make a hire of someone with no ties to FSU. Who would be at the top of your list? I'm personally high on Cliff Godwin from ECU.
There we go. There's
That's
his name.
Corey's guy. He loves him.
Let me look him up.
Young guy, multiple stops as an assistant at big-time SEC programs, have averaged over 40 wins a year since taking over at ECU. Only downside is he is to ECU what Link Jarrett is to FSU. So convincing him to leave would probably be pretty tough. Zach, it ought not be. If you get called by Florida State and you're coaching at ECU, you take that call and you leave.
Yeah, he did play at East Carolina.
That's his point. Who cares?
All right. He's from Snow Hill, North Carolina. You guys ever been there?
No. Listen, if you played at, I don't know, I don't want to besmirch somebody's university, but
Appalachian State.
You played at Furman or Appalachian State and freaking Michigan or somebody, Auburn or whatever, call you go. I don't care. You can still love your alma mater. You can give money back to the school and all those things, but you go take that job. It's a better job, period.
He's the 4-time AAC Coach of the Year, 3 in a row, actually. And then he was at Vanderbilt, Notre Dame, LSU, UCF, Ole Miss. And then he took he was at Ole Miss for 4 years till 14.
By the way, Iron, you made this point. He did what would have been nice for Mike Martin Jr. to be able to
head
do.
Coach.
Yeah, go elsewhere.
And I saw somebody in the chat mention James Ramsey. I think we all like James Ramsey. He's obviously done well at Georgia Tech as a hitting coach. But again, you need to be a head coach. Yeah. There are things you don't know.
Well, you're not learning on the job here, man.
And I'm not saying it can't work that way, but after seeing it not work, I think you need to go for a proven head coach.
And I just looked up the Michigan guy because we were talking about him. Yes. He also played at East Carolina. What are we doing here? So he doesn't have really any ties, and he was the head coach at Maryland. What's going on? Did they just follow each other? The Virginia Tech guys?
Were you also the one who noted that East Carolina has not been out to Omaha?
Yeah, I have. But maybe that is a pool for that guy. It's like he's at East Carolina through and through. They got really close this year. They were 1 win away. He wants to see them finally get over the top. It might be hard to.
Or he'll take the better job and leave like he should.
So, the Michigan guy was an assistant at Clemson for a year, an assistant at Vanderbilt for 7 years. And that was the David Price, Mike Minor days. And who was the hitter for the Pirates?
Pedro Alvarez.
Yeah. And then he was at Maryland for 3 years, and now he's been at Michigan since 2013.
By the way, no gallbladder memory issues here. How quick was I on that Pedro Alvarez, buddy?
Yeah.
Well, he played for the Pirates.
Mere seconds.
That's why you should give him your gallbladder.
Man, think how good I'd be just in life if I had a memory.
A lot of people are still asking about candidates that we'd be interested in. So I'm going to skip over some of your questions.
I'd make a run at the Michigan guy, and I'd make a run at East Carolina too, and Virginia Tech, even though you can't pronounce his last name.
Okay, this one seems like an easy question to answer. I'll be curious your all's answer here. Matt writes, what will happen first? Baseball returns to Omaha or the football team returns to the college football playoff? First of all, baseball goes to Omaha. And then secondly, he wanted to know if either will occur before 2026. Yes. The baseball team will get back to Omaha before 2026.
One of them might. And in fact, if they expand that playoff and you just got to be one of the top 12, and if that happens in 2025 and Norvell's got this bad boy humming, you could be a top 12 team and get in the playoff and lose to Ohio State in the second round. Just throwing that out there.
Yeah.
Just throwing that's a possibility.
Look, man, if he's hit on any of these quarterbacks, whether it's AJ Duffy or whether it's one of the kids that's, in this next class, that gets you there, man. You got to hit on a quarterback.
Please.
If you've got a good program, and I think they'll have a good program, and you hit on a quarterback, you can get to the college football playoff.
Yeah, they got to get a lot better up front. And
but that's coming, man. That freshman class is offensive line.
They like him.
We didn't mention it. They just brought in Antavius Woody, who now is qualified. That's 6 offensive linemen. It's not just they like him. We were out there in the spring. Daughtry Richardson, Kaniah Charlton. They've got some.
I didn't love Kaniah Charlton. He's got a lot of bad weight to lose.
Well, yeah, man, but that can get fixed. But he's athletic as heck for that size.
Yeah, I liked him as a run blocker. He worried me otherwise, but yeah, I mean, he's again, he's early.
That's a nice class, and Armella. I mean, that's a nice offensive line class building for the future.
Yeah, but that's probably 3 years away, and then you do have to hope one of those quarterbacks. Duffy better be the guy, right? I mean,
yeah, or whoever ends up out of this class, whether it's Parson or one of these other guys.
Clay writes, we've all heard you guys talk about maybe winning 7 to 8 games. Out of Clemson, Miami, LSU, and Florida, who's our toughest opponent? And what is this team's win-loss record if turnover luck favors the Noles throughout each game? Could the Noles reach 10 wins in a best-case scenario?
It's hard to believe in the regular season.
To
be very, very lucky.
You could probably drag me kicking and screaming to 9, possibly.
Yeah, possibly.
What's tougher? NC State on the road. To me, the 3 candidates: NC State on the road, Clemson, and Miami. Miami on the road and Clemson at home. I think all 3 of those are the toughest ones.
Yeah,
I don't know how to pick.
That's really tough. I
think their least chance of winning is probably at NC State.
I think that's true. I think they're going to lose to NC State on the road. I agree. Veteran quarterback, veteran defense. 12 of the 15 players who got defensive snaps for NC State last year are at over 75% rate, and then they get 3 guys back from injury.
You know what that is?
They're loaded.
That's a man who makes bets on future.
Yeah, sounds like it. Yeah, sounds exactly like that.
That's a college sports book is what that is. Yeah. But yeah, they are loaded, and they have a veteran offensive line. Now they do lose Bam Knight, and they lose one of those receivers.
Yeah,
but they still
lost that really good lineman, right?
Yeah, but
the top 5 pick or whoever it was. Yeah,
but they still have a veteran group that has fielded a ton of snaps, and they have the other receiver that comes back that's really talented. They won 10 games a year ago. They're a good team. I mean, I hate to say it. It's hard to admit Dave Doran's done a good job, but Dave Doran's done a good job.
Yeah, they're going to get fat and happy, though. They're going to get fat and happy.
Sage in the chat says Clemson at home doesn't concern him. I will say this: if that quarterback's the same quarterback and he plays like he did last year, I could definitely see Florida State winning that game.
I could.
Yeah, they should and could have beaten them last year up there.
Yeah, I have a suspicion that if that quarterback if DJ plays like that early, they'll pull him for the other kid that everybody's excited about.
Yeah,
and
but then there could be some growing pains. You lost Venables.
Yeah,
and you lost the offensive coordinator.
Now, what I hope is that this is all a program, at least in the terms of Clemson, that is heading for the side of the mountain.
Seems like
it looks like it's. There are telltale signs like there were here.
Yeah,
I remember doing an interview. I was as a guest at Clemson, and the guy was like, "Man, it certainly seems like there are a lot of signs of Florida State about to fall off a cliff." And I didn't want to hear it, but I didn't totally disagree with his logic. He was talking about Jimbo and some issues, and I see these things happening at Clemson right now, where we're all kind of like,
Yeah, I think the difference is that it was Jimbo's offense, and we trusted Jimbo knew what he was doing to recruit to that offense and run that offense to an efficient manner. It ain't Dabo's offense or Dabo's defense.
Correct.
They're his coaches, so that you had more confidence that Jimbo wouldn't do what Jimbo ended up doing.
Yeah, and also yeah, we don't want to get into that again. So anyhow, he wanted to know, we picked that. And then if turnover luck, I don't think we can get to 10 wins, even with turnover luck.
I mean, that would be all-time luck. It would be like that Oregon team or something, like Oklahoma State 3 or 4 years ago, 5 years ago, when they had a horrible defense but led the country in turnover margin.
I will say this. I have to ask this next question. It's on Twitter from a man named Boner. And he writes, who is the – well, I mean,
we call him Bonner.
That's his name.
Yeah.
There's no –
Bonnaroo.
Who is the offensive line coach with Atkins acting as the offensive coordinator?
He's still the offensive line coach. He's doing both.
That is correct.
Now, during games, we think, I think Mike Norvell is going to be calling the preponderance of the plays, but Atkins will be the offensive coordinator who helps put together the game plan during the week.
This question's from Logan, also on Twitter. FSU is clearly lacking in facilities when it comes to baseball. I agree with you, Jeff. Hauser's a dump. How important do you think facility upgrades?
Why do you have to say Hauser's a dump the way you say it? Like
because I'm angry about it.
Distress.
I'm tired of that place being a dump.
Could just be, Hauser's a dump. Blah, 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 blah.
No, he's got a lot
I say
of,
it emphatically.
You got a vitriol in your voice.
I'm tired of it. It's ridiculous. They've done nothing. Oh, here's some new pads.
They got some pads on the wall.
Have you seen the video board? Just saying.
How important do you think the facility upgrades are for the next head coach? Do you think he will demand that this be worked into his deal?
Link Jarrett better not, because what did Notre Dame's what do they seat 1,100 at that thing? They put that place isn't a pearl.
I think Link's going to want all the advantages he can get.
Sure, but he can't be a demand. They'll be like, man, we'll try our best.
I think whoever gets this job will be demanding.
Yeah, I think demands
because the
necessary.
thing is, man,
it's a request.
Florida State. There was a time.
It's a request.
If somebody asked you in the early 2000s. There's a talk about that Notre Dame team. The last Notre Dame
2002
team was 2002.
I did color for that game for the Armed Forces Network.
And if somebody had asked you right then, is Florida State one of the top 5 jobs in the country?
Yes.
You would have said yes.
Resoundingly so.
Now it doesn't even sniff.
No, not even close.
So that needs to get back there. You don't have that opportunity at every college facility or college program, but this has the potential to get back there.
I think that's the allure. It's part of the allure when offer goes to one of these guys and says, yeah, our plan is to do this, this, and this. I don't know if anybody can say, well, I demand it in writing or I'm not coming. All right, then stay at East Carolina, man. Stay in Blacksburg. Stay in South Bend.
But he just fired the baseball coach. Well, my man needs to make a good hire.
Well, you tell him you're going to do it, and then if you get around to it, you get around.
But I don't think it's going to be bending his arm. I think Michael Alford
I know he wants to do it. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
he's an ex-baseball guy. I mean,
he's intimately familiar with what that facility is like right now, what it needs to be.
He could get Lonnie to raise some money for it too.
There you go.
I was thinking that it probably didn't. I don't want to go there. I would get in trouble already. I was just going to say the last time we were talking about
you just
demands,
said you weren't going to go there,
but
then you
certain
went there.
guy left the program, so you got to be careful. But I do think that I agree with Ira. Most of the coaches that are going to interview for this job or want this job,
they're going to want guarantees.
They want assurances.
That you're assurances that it's trying. Well, assurances isn't as hard and fast as I guarantee.
Corey's like really holding true to the semantics in here.
It wasn't an assurance that they were going to win that Super Bowl. He guaranteed it. I assure you guys.
Mark Messier guaranteed they'd win Game 7 for the Rangers when they won in '94.
You think Gene would let us all have off the day that Texas A&M and Alabama play? Because I'd like to be in that stadium for that.
We can't. We have a real game. Like we're covering like a real one. It's Florida. It's an important.
We have 8 people on the staff.
Yeah. Well, you're right. And I are going to go cover the A&M Alabama game. The rest of you guys got this.
I just can't wait to see what. I mean, Saban may try to hang 6.
Now imagine the moment that in Jimbo's post-game press conference, the first 2 faces he sees are you and me.
Just in the front row?
Yeah. Coach
Fisher, I have a question.
And you know how he can't wear anything on his face without giving away how he feels? How great would that be? Seminole Headlines, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV continues in a moment.
Your local news now.
The Leon County Sheriff's Office said they are seeing an uptick in vehicle break-ins and are urging residents to be more careful. This is when a person breaks a window to steal valuables out of your car. Deputies say it is important not to leave anything visible because that will make you an easy target for thieves. Officials said you should also remember to lock your car doors no matter where you are. DEA said many car thefts occur because someone left their doors unlocked. If you become a victim, it is important to file a report with the Leon County Sheriff's Office online. In addition, DEA said you need to call the department so they can assess the physical damage to your car and begin the investigation. Much of the eastern United States will experience higher moisture and temperatures that will create unbearable and dangerous heat for most of the work week. Most of our area has been placed under the heat advisory umbrella. Heat index values of 105 to 110 are anticipated. Be sure to drink plenty of water, take frequent breaks indoors, and check on those who are vulnerable to the heat. This is Rachel Lene with your Real Talk 93.3 local news update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. A heat advisory continues until 8 p.m. tonight. Scattered thunderstorms likely this afternoon, otherwise mainly cloudy. High of 95, west winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Scattered thunderstorms likely tonight. Lows level off around 75, mainly cloudy. Chance for scattered storms tomorrow, 96. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, 94.
There's fun to be had every night at the Corner Pocket. Take home prizes on Trivia Tuesdays and Beer Bingo Thursdays. And kickstart your weekend with Martini Fridays. Plus happy hour runs every weekday and game day specials every time the Noles take the field. Watch all the best games at the Corner Pocket's Vegas Wall, featuring 560 inches of flat screen TV heaven.
Oh, really?
The best food, the best drinks, and the best place to watch all the games. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Life is stressful. Dinner shouldn't be. That motto is why Register Sausage has been doing business in the Florida Panhandle and Lower Alabama for over 75 years. A proud sponsor of Seminole Headlines, Register Sausage always provides the best Southern smoked sausage to over 140 grocery stores and restaurants throughout the Southeast. Headliners have discovered the Register's difference. You can too. To find a store that carries Registers near you or to buy directly, head to registermeats.com. That's registermeats.com. Register Sausage. Yay, sausage!
Here's what you missed on the Greg Tish Show.
There's a TikTok that's going viral because of a butter softening method. They are putting the Vermont Creamery butter in the waistband of her pants. Give it 5 minutes. You can go and measure out your ingredients, and then your butter is ready to go. You cannot do this in Florida.
No.
Because your pants will be full of butter in 2 minutes. Somebody try it. Post on TikTok.
Unless it says juicy across the back.
The Greg Tish Show, Monday through Friday, 6 to 9 a.m., only on Real Talk 93.3.
Seminole Headlines is brought to you by Register Sausage, serving the Florida Panhandle and Lower Alabama for over 75 years. To find a store near you or to buy directly from Registers, head to registermeats.com. That's registermeats.com.
Seminole Headlines returns now. Head to YouTube and search for Warchant TV today to catch the show live or on demand. Now, here's Jeff Cameron, Ira Schofel, and Corey Clark.
Elite level Twitter questions coming your way. Here's one from Lee. You three have spent most of the football offseason saying you expect this team to win 7 to 8 games, but Vegas puts the number at 6.5. What makes you more optimistic than the books? Well, that number, you have to pick a side. You have to say under or over 6.5. And I am just going over by a half.
Yeah.
It's not like wild optimism.
I think 7. I think if we had to put money on it, if you had to pick a number, I think we would put money on 7.
7.
Yeah.
But 8 and 6 are both possible.
And I think
Very
that was mainly because of how they played the last 2 months of the season.
Yeah.
That was an 8-win football team-ish looking team.
If they play the way they did those last 2 months, they could win 7, 8 games.
Yeah, and I think they'll hit the ground running on defense this year in a way that they didn't a year ago. That was a train wreck to start the year. The 0-4 start was largely due to not just them not knowing who the hell the quarterback was going to be, but because of that defense was every day an embarrassment. I mean, basically it didn't get right until the second half of the Louisville game.
Yeah.
And we were just watching guys run free willy-nilly down the middle of the field. It was heartbreaking. It was hard to stomach.
Humiliating.
You didn't see it happen the second half of the season. I mean, they had their moments, but they didn't have any moments where you like everybody's just standing around.
Like even the Florida touchdowns that they had, the guy, they had a 3rd and 17 where the guy makes a back shoulder throw and then you miss a tackle and then that game's over after that. That kind of stuff was happening. Not dudes running scot-free 30 yards from anyone.
Think about the Notre Dame game that was lost in overtime and how good Florida State was just to be in that game. Right off the bat, Notre Dame comes down the field and on a 4th down, I don't know, perhaps the most well-thought-of tight end in the country.
Yeah.
He's called Baby Gronk, is running wide the hell open on a 4th down that he waltzes into the end zone.
Not the awareness you're looking for.
Nobody's near him. You're like, hey, he seems like a guy we might want to cover here. He's pretty good. They call him Baby Gronk.
Yeah. That should be on the scouting report at some point.
And they made some personnel changes after about the first 3 or 4 games. They got a couple guys healthy. And that defense was, I think they changed some things, what they were asking them to do. They figured it out. Good coaching, made some adjustments. And then now we'll see if they can take the next step from that with the losses they had up front.
You guys, UF opens with Utah, Kentucky, South Florida, and Tennessee. Are they more likely to be 4-0 or 0-4? And then
Utah?
So listen.
They play Utah?
Oh, yeah. It's great.
Wow. Is Utah bringing people back?
Home and home. Utah will win the Pac-12, boys. That's my prediction.
They were good last year, obviously.
They won the Pac-12 last year and went to the Rose Bowl and narrowly lost to Ohio State. Cam Rising is their quarterback at Utah. He comes back. Once they
you don't have to tell us who the quarterback is at Utah.
Once they made the move to start him, Ira, last year, they took off and went nuts offensively. They return him. They return that offensive line. They return 2 tight ends that are stars.
Plus, they recruit a bunch of renegades.
And they run the damn ball. as well. They're physical. Utah is, by the way, favored to win the game in Gainesville. Preseason right now, they are.
It's in Gainesville.
Mm-hmm.
They could lose to Kentucky.
By the way, the following year, Florida goes to Utah. How about that?
So it's Utah, Kentucky, Tennessee, and who?
It is Utah, Kentucky, USF, and Tennessee. Now, they'll kill USF, but
and they always beat Tennessee. And they usually beat Kentucky. So just those, I mean, didn't
Kentucky won 10 games a year ago and has been playing.
I'm just
really
saying those
more
rivalries.
likely 4-0 just because USF.
It is more likely 4-0.
And I also think it's because they routinely beat Kentucky and Tennessee for 4 decades.
However, having
0-4 is
said
a
that,
possibility.
1-3 is a distinct possibility.
Like to see those mountain kids deal with Gainesville, a Gainesville August night. See how they handle that humidity.
It's going to be hot as Hades, but you're talking about a coach making his debut with this team, and obviously you're implementing new systems at Florida.
You guys remember also like those Boise kids really struggled in the Tallahassee heat in the second half. They wore down. They
got
melted
worn down. You couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
I did sit in the stands for that game and remember thinking in the third quarter, why am I here? It is 105
most
degrees.
of the Florida State players were with you.
Yeah.
That theory it's probably been the least effective theory of any theory I've ever seen in sports. That game, remember, and then the regional with Schwartz, what's his name? Schwarber?
Kyle Schwarber from Indiana.
That team was supposed to wilt.
I never felt
baseball's a little different.
I never felt like baseball players should wilt. I know I heard it said.
A lot of people feeling like that would happen.
But
I think because they had seen Stanford do it the year before.
Yeah.
They thought that they would, but Schwarber's better than those guys that were at Stanford.
Also, if you can't handle the heat while at playing baseball, you need to get out of the sport. So what are we doing here?
You're getting jaw cramps.
But I'm not playing Division I big time college baseball.
Some jaw cramps.
At which point I probably wouldn't be drinking beer nightly and drinking coffee to start my day to the tune of 3 12-ounce cups. Ira, you said yesterday on the JCS that this staff, this is from Chris, could not be accused of stargazing. You meant it as a compliment. But I personally wouldn't mind if they would be accused of stargazing. That wouldn't suck. Mm-hmm. Sure as hell about that diamond in the rough life right now, aren't they? You're right about that. Yeah.
All right, just to make sure my comment was not taken out of context. I said it's a compliment that they're not just taking anything for the sake of taking somebody with stars. They're relying on their evaluations. Yes, it would be much preferable if they were beating out Texas A&M, Alabama, Georgia,
for 5-star kids.
For better players. I'm not saying that this is preferable. I'm just saying at the end of Coach Bowden's tenure specifically, the last 7-8 years, they were recruiting a lot of kids kind of off the lists that were 3 or 4-star guys that other people didn't want because they had other issues off the field. You'd rather do this than that. But yeah, man, ultimately, yes, you want to be getting the best players. 100%.
Mike, drop the bag, Norvell writes, with the AD's investment in baseball, what do you wonderful gentlemen think will be next? Finally tearing down the dump known as Hauser?
See how he says it?
Yeah, I did. I felt it
for
that
you.
time. Yeah.
For you.
You would have done it anyway.
Or maybe at least some renovations? Well, I understand Corey's kind of like, let's dismiss these renovations for a good coach right now. Let's just get the coach. Whatever that costs, let's get the coach, and then we'll worry about renovations. Also, there are more things on the next list than just the renovations to baseball. So I don't know. I mean, what's next? If the next baseball coach is Link Jarrett and he says, I'll give you a hometown discount instead of paying me 1.2, I'll take 900,000 or $1 million, but you need to put 100,000 into renovations for Hauser.
And I want seats on that screen.
Well, then maybe that's next. I don't know. Maybe that's next. It's hard to know. Kevin writes, I saw Corey at Ham's camp. Looking good, buddy.
Thanks,
Looks
Kevin.
like you might need some Jethro Bodine rope belt, though. Your pants looked like they were plotting to expose you. Yeah, your pants are a little shaky.
When I saw Top Gun the first time, have you seen Top Gun yet?
No,
anyway,
Lord.
When I saw it the first time, I forgot to wear my belt with my jeans, and I was sneaking one of my trusty water bottles in there
with your Milo or whatever,
and it was in my back pocket, and literally they were sliding to my knees. The belt part was sliding to my knees.
Feeling it.
And I had a thing of popcorn, small popcorn. I don't go crazy anymore.
Yeah, the gallbladder can't handle it.
and my tickets. And I didn't have a hand to pull my pants up, and that was really disconcerting.
People came for a show.
They got a show. You got a show. And yes, I'm trying to wear more belts, and I need to get tighter fitting pants.
Kevin,
you've been saying that to me for years, Ira.
Yeah. Kevin went on and had a question, not just an observation
about my belt.
Yeah. You've mentioned that Alfred has real AD power. What changed that Alfred does have a greater power than the recent FSU ADs? A couple of things. The financial situation is changing now that they're getting out from under Willie Taggart payments. And then also the situation, as Ira and I have talked about before, and Corey, you and I have too, with the boosters kind of controlling things more than they do at most universities previous. Florida State has modernized the way that athletics works, and so they could hire a real AD. In the past, you had athletic directors that got that job because a lot of real athletic directors didn't want that job because they didn't have any real power.
Or you had presidents who wanted to be athletic directors.
Correct. Yes. So now you have a situation where a president comes over and doesn't have all that much interest in athletics, except for he understands the value of them. Thus, he makes a hire and says, do your job. And this guy now is tasked with doing
And where this all ties together is there's conversation in the chat about the super conferences and whether or not Florida State would be involved. Part of the reason, if we've been writing about it and talking about it a lot, the reason that they're investing in football right now is because they want to make sure that they're in that conversation. Yeah. That's Florida State's taking every effort to make sure whenever that alignment happens that they're in the picture.
Roger gave us some help here. 16 nails in a coffin, 6 down left and right, and 2 at the head and the feet. Yay, sausage.
That was from Sunday Smash. Wasn't that Sunday Smash?
Sunday Smash.
Where I said how many nails
we didn't know how many nails were in a coffin.
Did they really nail a coffin?
Yeah.
They must have. I guess they still do,
We're still
right?
nailing coffins?
That was kind of odd,
First
right?
of all, we need to get rid of graveyards altogether and just burn everybody so that we're not taking up all this damn land.
Fair. Finally, somebody said it.
Yeah,
Finally, somebody said it.
What are we doing here? Come on now. Michael writes, gents, it's time for
what are we nailing them for? Are they going to come out? Like, are we trying to keep them from breaking out?
Especially since they're just going to become dust, which is why we burn them to begin with.
Yeah, but they have to dig 6 feet. If you're digging 6 feet down to lift a casket up, I don't think the 16 nails are going to keep you from finishing the job. You're going to yank that thing
I
up
got
with
a funny story for you to put a little levity on burying people.
Or burning them.
Or burning
them. So when my mother-in-law passed away,
this is starting off
what a great start.
How
many nails?
So we were at she was cremated. So, but there is a plot, and it's the veteran cemetery she was being buried with my father-in-law. Anyhow, my sister-in-law ends up wanting to give this speech. The workers have to stand in the damn hole that they're putting the urn in. It's 110, and we're standing there, and she won't shut the hell up, rambling on about this person's life, a wonderful person's life. And I'm watching the guy holding the urn, and he's staring at me desperately, like, do anything, please. And I can't keep myself from not laughing. Meanwhile, though, it's a solemn occasion, and I'm looking at him, and he's sweating profusely because he's in a suit, and it's 97 and humid. He's holding this urn. We played 3 songs. We talked about our childhood. I mean, this poor bastard. And then finally he got to set it down, and he did so with great dignity. And as everybody was walking away, I kind of slid over and gave him a little money and said, man, you're a champion.
Should have given him a paper towel. Did you?
He was drenched.
So you buried an urn?
Yeah.
Oh,
well, it's in the plot. It's there. It's a little box. It's a little,
Oh, all right. Yeah. I guess it didn't take up as much space as a full body.
He could have just like passively aggressively just sat it down.
He could have just I can't.
It's getting too hot. Getting too hot.
I bet our guy Joel Davis has some good funerals.
Yeah, I know he does. He told me one.
So I didn't get to everybody, but I got to a lot of people, more than I'm accustomed to getting to. I think I should be celebrated today. Until next week,
Your
you guys
best
should be
effort
thinking
in
about
a long time.
Jeff really showed up today during the summer months.
That was like a 13 episode. That was like a 2013.
I think I was buoyed by my birthday week, your birthday week, Flag Day,
my gallbladder,
gallbladder surgery.
51.
Yeah,
Corey turning 50.
Yeah,
not quite.
The Bolts getting to a 3rd straight Stanley Cup Finals.
Yeah, the
Top
Braves,
Gun.
Braves winning streak. It's all happening, Ira. It's all happening.
Yeah. Got to see in person the Braves winning streak extended to 10 when I was there.
Right.
I can't believe we didn't talk about hockey because I was so excited.
Well, we did on the Sunday Smash.
I can't. I'm just so excited. I heard someone on Wake Up Warchant that we have another local sports personality in Tallahassee talking about hockey.
I love hockey.
He does.
We need more
There's
hockey
10
talk.
seconds left.
I love hockey.
We need more hockey
for
talk.
Ira and Corey, I'm Jeff. Thank you, Matthew. Bye, everybody. Be well. Peace. Peace.